Connected very cleanly on Lennox Lewis, and for a man that's got both eyes shut, that's not bad at all, is it? You know, but Frank and Lennox, Frank is very predictable in his style, methodical in his ways, yeah? This suits Lennox Lewis. My is that the reach, for once, Frank is fighting somebody that has a longer reach than he does, yeah? And if two people are throwing punches together and they have a similar reach, the one with the longer reach will get there before the one with the shorter reach, you know? And that's why Lewis's punches will get to Frank before Frank's get to Lewis. And the height, Frank's having to punch up in the air. These are all totally things that he's not been used to doing all the time throughout his career. They're not instinctive for him, so he'll have to adapt to this. And if you watch Lennox Lewis's fights, most of the people he's knocked out or knocked down, they've all been taller guys. He seems to do well with the taller guys, but the short guys that get under him, he can't do so well with them, you know? Boxing, it's like you can't get a horse that jumps fences to win a straight race. It's very difficult, you know? And you can't...
That's a man you're going to get to know a little better as we go along. Like Lennox Lewis, 31-year-old Frank Bruno is a classic example of the bad boy made good. A difficult child who fought his way out of trouble, had 2 unsuccessful shots at the World Crown, but who has emerged famous from defeat.
They can come true. Yeah, they can come true. Move a step closer. You know that I want you. I can tell by your eyes that you want me to. Just a question of time. I knew we'd be together and that you'd be mine. I want you here forever. Do you hear what I'm saying? Gotta say how I feel. I can't relate to it, but I know that you're real. I know what I want, and baby, it's you. Can't deny my feelings because they are true, yeah. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. I've seen you sometimes on your own ending cry.
Oh, what a good right hand, right on the balance. Oh, Bruno's gone. He's gone.
Now you're by my side, and I feel so good. I'm nothing too hard, don't feel that I ever could. Do you hear what I'm saying? Gotta say how I feel. I can't believe you're here, but I know that you're real. 'cause they are true, yeah. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Tomorrow, let's live for tonight. I know I want you, baby, so hold me so tight. Put your arms around me, you made me feel so safe. Can you whisper in my ear that you're here to stay? Yeah. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope. You know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope.
He's travelled a hard road and he's not quite at the end of it yet. More than 30,000 people are going to fill the Arms Park tonight. There are some great names among them, not just from the world of boxing, but as you'd expect on this night, from all walks of life. We'll make sure everybody's included to help along your enjoyment of this historic occasion. And helping me out to do that, three people: our main ringside commentator, Ian Darke. Waiting upstairs for the celebrities to start to arrive is Anna Walker. And also ringside and interviewing all the boxing celebrities for us, Gary Norman. First off, hello to Ian Darke.
Paul, the rising tension and excitement at ringside, well, you can almost feel it. Glenn McCrory and I, when we're commentating on the fight, will be within almost touching distance of Frank Bruno and Lennox Lewis later on. Of course, all the smart money is on Lennox Lewis. He's 5-1 on, but I remember 3 years ago being in the Tokyo Dome when Mike Tyson fought Buster Douglas, and of course, you know what happened. Tyson, the big favorite, got beaten. Can Bruno, I wonder, cause the sensation tonight?
The stars are coming out tonight, and so too, of course, that means Anna Walker is.
Yes, Paul, all the celebrities will be here in the VIP lounge later on, wining and dining. And from stage, screen, sport and pop, all those different worlds will be coming together tonight, some of whom have travelled a long way to be here. Gene Hackman, for instance, has flown in from the United States. And here's just a few more names to whet your appetite for the evening: Sting, George Michael, Eric Clapton, Phil Collins, Bob Hoskins, and of course the list wouldn't be complete without some Welsh stars as well. And Catherine Zeta-Jones will be along, Colin Jackson, and this famous rugby ground will of course be graced by Jonathan Davis. And I'm nice and dry and warm here, Paul.
I'm delighted for you. High time we've got a word with our own Mr. Boxing. Hello to Gary Norman.
Thanks, Paul. I'm nice and dry too. The rain has stopped. The boxers you may see at ringside tonight: Lloyd Hannigan, I believe he's going to be here. I bumped into Chris Pyatt shopping in Cardiff today. Billy Walker should be around. Henry Cooper's here. And you may be able to see the big man behind me over my left shoulder, Big George Foreman. And I think Ian Darke will be talking to him later. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Paul.
Thanks very much to Gary, and yes, the rain has stopped again on cue. In a moment or two, we're going to be joined by Frank Maloney, Lennox Lewis's manager, for his thoughts on this, the Battle of Britain.
You're watching Sky...
And Barry McGuigan, you could not have missed the war of words preceding the Battle of Britain. It's not unusual for the lead-up to a big fight because hype, after all, sells seats, but this has been serious stuff. Since the two met face-to-face here in Cardiff a couple of months back, the interchanges have been fast and furious.
I'm going to hit you upside your head so hard you won't even know if you're Canadian, Jamaica, Los Angeles or what. I'm going to knock you upside your head, boy. Oh, so hard.
Please try it.
I'm going to hit you upside your head. You wouldn't know if you was Canadian.
Next question.
Yeah, thank you very much. You
Not for the pantomime.
You're enjoying yourself, yeah?
Not for the pantomime. This is
my
real.
My pantomime fans were out there, man. I've got to keep them
Where's
sweet.
your skirt today?
I've got... My skirt is at home, mate. I'm in suspenders
yes,
as well.
Good.
Don't try that with me, because I've been in pantomime. You're just embarrassing yourself, so I will just pass it on, man, because I'll just ad-lib you out.
You're a living embarrassment. So
I'll ad-lib you out of here, boy.
You're a living embarrassment.
Yeah? I am a thespian, so don't mess about
Well,
with
at least I'm not a sellout as well.
Don't just stop. I've been in the business 25 minutes, and I know the business.
So what's the real story? Ian Darke put the question to Lennox Lewis. As he trained in Washington, I met Frank Bruno in Essex.
I don't understand how a guy was born in this country, yeah? Come over fought for Canada for the Olympics, come over here, slagged me down something rotten, lived on my back as regards as publicity, like he wants to fight Frank Bruno, this, that, and the devil knows what. Switch swap and call me Uncle Tom this and the devil knows what, and you don't even know me.
I'm about to go. The big thing is jealousy. You know, Bruno was, you know, the big thing in England at one time, and I've just come along and just succeeded in something he's been trying to succeed for most of his career, and I've did it in the least amount of time, and all of a sudden he's not the, he doesn't have the limelight and all the exposure like he used to have, and the younger generation, the better generation has come along and taken that over.
Outside his immediate family, nobody really knows Lennox Lewis better than this gentleman, Mr. Frank Maloney, manager of the reigning world heavyweight champion. Now, the last time, in case people don't know how nervous this man Maloney gets before a fight, before the Ruddock fight, the only time in my life you were not able to speak, you were so nervous. You look terribly relaxed tonight, is it true?
I'm very nervous, uptight, a bit tense. I've eased a bit now since the rain has stopped, but a little bit uptight.
You've had a hard few days, haven't you, with the rain? It's created several problems for you, but so far so good, and you seem to have overcome everything that the elements in Cardiff seem to have thrown at you. Ian Darke said you were born lucky. Do you go along with that?
Might be Irish in me.
How's Lennox?
He's fine. Just left him about half an hour ago. He was watching a tape of Bruno and Carl Williams. Pepe was in the room, and myself and Courtney Shand. We just went through a few tactics. We discussed why we thought Bruno came in quite heavy. We actually believe he was more than a 17 stone. That's why all the fiddling about was on the scale there. Mm. And we just left it like that.
How would you describe the mood in your camp now, Frank?
Very confident, very relaxed and very confident.
Mm. What are the big problems that Frank Bruno poses you?
I think just the size of him. If he fights his normal fight, I think it's going to be a nice, quick night for Lennox Lewis.
Mm. Now, Lennox has created this image around him of being a superior heavyweight. He's the man with the star quality now. One or two people said his biggest danger in this fight could be complacency. Do you accept that?
It could be, but it's not. I can assure you, Lennox Lewis has not 1 minute taken Frank Bruno for granted. If anything, he overtrained for this fight and we had to cut back his training. The
complacency, if I may say, has been levelled at you as well as the manager. You've been looking beyond Bruno already. People have said, hey, work Bruno out and then work out your next move in managerial promotional terms.
I think all managers, or good managers, have to work 1 or 2 fights in advance. That's why Riddick Bowe's having so much problem, because his manager didn't plan his route for him. If you're the heavyweight champion of the world, you expect to be the heavyweight champion, and you expect to have a 2 or 3 fight plan ahead of you.
Speaking of Mr. Bowe, I'm sure you gentlemen will be interested in the opinions of this fellow. While Ian Darke was out in Washington a couple of weeks back, he put Riddick Bowe, the same man, on the spot. Bowe, the WBA and IBF World Heavyweight Champion, the man Lennox Lewis has been trying to fight.
Well, I think Lennox Lewis has yet to fight a guy who can punch like Frank Bruno. And I think Frank Bruno, if he gets lucky, he can knock Lennox Lewis out. Lennox doesn't take a great punch. He hasn't been hit yet. And I think when he fights a guy like Bruno, that will answer a lot of questions.
All the odds makers in Britain are making Lennox Lewis a very red-hot favourite to win.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would have to make him the favourite also, but I still think Frank Bruno, if he pops Lennox, he has the opportunity to become the WBC heavyweight champion of the world.
I'm about to go. You've got the reputation of being something of a mimic. Have you got a British accent off to a T yet? Can you do that?
Not yet, but I'm going to work on it. Next time I speak with you, I'm going to have one down.
Lennox Lewis impersonation, do you do?
Yeah, I can do one for Lennox.
Go on, then. Have you got a message for him? He's probably watching
Yes,
this.
that's exactly what he's going to be doing when we fight.
I don't know, he seems pretty confident of beating your man, Frank Maloney.
Talk's very cheap, and we found that all along with every opponent that's fought Lennox Lewis. And you know, that's what surprised us tonight with Frank Bruno. He'd never ever used a war of words before, and this one, it's been a total war of words.
At this stage, when will we see Bo and Lewis in the ring together?
Hopefully June, July of next year.
And you're pretty confident about making that come to pass?
We're working on it. We've got Dan Dover working on it. We've got our lawyers working on it. And we have made an offer which we think is quite acceptable, and we're hoping they'll accept it.
What's your opinion of Riddick Bowe, Barry?
He's an exceptionally good fighter. Got a very tight defence. I think he's reached the development stage, the top of the tree at development. He's getting more confident, but I think runs a risk of eating himself out of the title. He goes into camp weighing 295 pounds reportedly, so you know he can't keep doing that or he's going to make himself an old man very quickly.
Would you take him to beat Lewis, or would you favour Lewis?
At the moment I think Lennox is developing as a fighter. He's still getting better, whereas Bo has got to the top of the tree, as it were. I think at the moment that it'll be a fairly even match. In 6 to 8 months' time, I fancy Lewis.
Fancy a flutter on this one. Here's how the odds makers make Lewis versus Bruno tonight. Round by round we have as well, but first, Lewis, 11-2 on favourite, last we heard from our bookmaking friends. Points victory, 7-2, and the draw shortened, incidentally, 33-1. Earlier in the day, I was in a betting shop not very far from where we are with Frank Maloney, actually, and we checked the draw out at 50-1. Now it's down to 33-1. Frank Bruno, 100-30, the outsider of 2. Points victory, 8-1. And round by round, Lewis, the money really is for the 3rd and 4th round, Lennox Lewis to knock Bruno out in round 3 and 4. They're 10-1 favourites on that score. Frank Bruno 28-1 and rising to knock Lennox Lewis out. The longer it goes, the more people seem to think that it won't be Frank Bruno's night. A little over 3 hours to the big fight. We're going to give you your chance to tell us who you think will win the big one tonight. We are looking for the national opinion, and we want to record your winner. Ring one of these 2 numbers. For Lennox Lewis to win, please dial 0891 456 302. If you fancy Frank Bruno, please call us on 0891 456 305. Those are the 2 numbers. Lewis 02, Bruno 03. Calls cost a maximum of 10 pence, so we are really looking forward to hearing from you. We want to find out who Britain thinks will win tonight's Battle of Britain. Give us a call. Throughout the night we'll be bringing you up to date. The phone lines are open until around about 1:45 this evening. Now let's go back down to ringside. Ian Darke has got a very famous past, famous face I should say, from the not too distant past in World Heavyweight Championship stakes. Ian.
Yes, one of the ring legends with me here, George Foreman. First of all, George, welcome back to Britain.
I'm happy and having a good time right here on Sky.
Now then, Frank Bruno against Lennox Lewis. I've seen a few quotes from you already about this.
Well,
tell us what you think.
I do believe it's a more even match than everybody supposed. The 5-1 odds are just unrealistic. Bruno has a greater chance of winning than most people would expect he would. I'm not saying he's going to win. I don't pick him, but I do say he's not the underdog that people are saying he is.
There's still 1 or 2 unanswered questions, isn't there, about Lennox Lewis? How convinced have you been by him so far?
Well, I'm convinced he's one of the best punchers in the business. He's got a good right hand. Nobody will ever be able to take that from him. Bruno has got a good right hand, equally as good as a matter of fact. And if this fight goes beyond 5-6 rounds, Bruno can easily win this thing by points.
I'm interested to hear you say all this because I always thought in the United States they regarded Bruno as a bit of a statue, the typical horizontal British heavyweight.
All to the contrary. Bruno has never been beaten. He's only lost fights. He's always ahead. He's whipped someone, but he just gets tired of winning. Most of the time, he's always been in control of the opponents, even the ones he's lost to. This guy's a better fighter than people would expect.
You've performed in stadiums all over the world. Looking around here, this could be pretty atmospheric when it gets a bit full later on.
Boy, this is something brand new to me, outdoors and probably in the rain. Who knows? It's going to be a historical event.
The rain would certainly be different, wouldn't it?
I just want some coffee and hot chocolate.
Do you have a good dinner tonight, George? I ought to ask you that, really, didn't I?
I really did, and I intend to have a good one after this. I think it's going to be a spectacular fight. I don't know who's going to win, but I know it's going to be a great fight.
Okay, let me just press you on it. Give us a prediction if I really did sort of put a gun to your head over it.
I do predict if Bruno was able to stay back and not let his temperament take control of him and rush this guy, Bruno could possibly win this thing, probably by decision in the 12th round, 12 rounds. But if he gets out of control and try to rush him, he'll be out of there about 3 or 4 rounds.
One last question. Are we ever going to see you back in the ring, George?
No doubt about it. I'm only a kid. I'm just about 45 or 50, 60, 70.
Spring chicken, really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I've been hit so much, I don't even know my age.
Well, we're never going to write you off, not after the last comeback.
No, I'm here to stay.
Great speaking to you, George.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks very much to you, Dart, with the one and only George Foreman. As you saw in the background there, the undercard is underway here in Cardiff. That means, yes, it's dry, and we're hoping for a continuation of the dry conditions. Now, we mentioned the odds a little earlier on there. Frank Maloney has had a very interesting side bet with Mickey Duff, the man behind Frank Bruno. Just expand on that for us.
We was in, at the Frank Morrison fight, and we was all laughing about as usual with Mickey, and he said, oh, if the fight happens and you're that confident, I want to bet my man. And we struck a bet with him at 5 to 1. So it's a bet between all the camp. He stands to win £25,000 if his man wins.
Well, money talks, and you're obviously pretty confident about that. You've made a rash prediction if it doesn't go right for Lennox as well. Just want to remind you about that.
As long as it don't rain.
Just explain to people, what have you said you'll do if Lennox does not get the result?
I'm trying to decide one or the other now. Leave the country or walk from Land's End to John O'Groats.
There's a nice dark river tap out the back. You might get Mickey Duff's persuasion to get you in there instead. Thanks very much to Frank Maloney. Good to see you, and I hope it's going to be a good night, whatever the outcome of the fight. In a moment or two, we're going to be taking some time out from the present to remember all the British fighters who fought for the world title since the Marquis of Queensberry laid down the law.
This guy's been slagging me down ever since he's come back from Canada. I'm going to knock him out, knock him back to Canada. I'm going to knock him out so hard that he's got to pay to come back into the hall.
I'm about to go boom!
The stars are shining in Cardiff. We're going to be talking to all the celebrities ringside. All the top boxing names are here. But Anna Walker's here as well, and she's found some interesting people already, not from the world of boxing.
Yes, well, up here in the VIP lounge, it's so much noise here, I could hardly hear you, Paul. But I'm joined by Sting. He's the first of the big names to arrive. Are you a big boxing fan, Sting?
I wouldn't say that, but I'm a big Frank Bruno fan because I trained with him a couple of times because I know his trainer, George. And I like the man very much, and I'd really like to see him win tonight, so I'm here to support Frank.
What was it like training with him? I mean, he is immensely fit, isn't he? Could you keep up with him?
So am I. Not in the ring, though. I didn't fight him in the ring.
Now, you know what it's like, the big occasion, going out there on a stage like this. What does it feel like to be surrounded by a crowd and egged on like that?
I think you probably feel as if your whole life has been leading up to this point, which is true, you know, and it's... I think it's great to be in that position. I love it, and I'm sure that both fighters will be very keen to get on with it and stop waiting around, you know.
Now, I have to ask you for a prediction. You're obviously a Bruno fan, so you'll be rooting for him. But do you think it'll be a knockout, or which round do you think he might win in?
I'm going for Frank in the 5th with a knockout.
Yeah, you don't think it'll go to the 12th points decision, no?
No, I don't think so. If it goes beyond 5, I think Frank will win on points.
You've been studying the form at all?
No, I'm just guessing.
Just a wild guess. Well, I think he needs all the support he can get here tonight. So you'll be out in the rain there, will you, cheering him on?
I'll be definitely out in the rain cheering him on. I'm very excited and I'm looking forward to it.
I think it'll be a great occasion. Thanks very much for joining us.
Well, it sounds like that there's plenty of support around the country for Frank Bruno. We asked you just a few minutes ago to phone in and tell us who you fancy to win in the big fight. The numbers we asked: for Lewis, 0891 456 302. And if you're a Bruno supporter, ring us and tell us on 0891 456 301. The phones have been red hot, so red hot that we've already been able to make up some early results. And they are surprising in the extreme. The professional people going with the world champion Lennox Lewis. But you, the great British public, believe that Frank Bruno, the people's champion, could do it tonight. 62.3%. That's almost double Lewis's vote. Bruno is the man for the people around Britain, at least so far. Now, the last of the preliminaries was held last night, yesterday afternoon, in fact, in the rain at Cardiff Castle. This was the scene there. It's a magnificent and historic venue for the weigh-in for the World Heavyweight Title Showdown. And in the rain, this is what happened.
He'll know exactly what his weight is, I'm sure.
17 stone exactly!
I'd have thought he would be a little bit lighter than that. He really is Mr. Cool, isn't he? Instant karma.
16 stone, 5 pounds!
That's quite light for Lennox Lewis.
That's my comfortable, that's my natural weight, 17 stone. When I wake up in the morning,
You have been lighter before, though, haven't you?
I have been lighter for different guys, but I want to be on the button.
I figured he would come in heavy because he would want to use his size and his strength towards his advantage.
He said he's going to hit you so hard he's going to send you back to Canada. That's not a very nice thing to say, but...
Well, he's trying to scare me, but I can't be faded. I think the main thing is, if I'm there to get hit, then he'll hit me. But I'm not gonna be there to get hit.
Heard it from the man himself. That weigh-in actually raised a few memories with some of the old-time boxing watchers around. In the gloved era of the past 100 years, 13 British heavyweights have fought for the world title, but only 2 have been successful. Bob Fitzsimmons back in 1897, and today, Lennox Lewis. In between those 2, many have tried, and many have failed.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Britain's predecessor to Lennox Lewis was Cornishman Bob Fitzsimmons. Originally the 150-pound world middleweight champion, Fitzsimmons progressed to heavyweight and ruled the roost for Britain between 1897 and 99.
Let's get ready to rumble!
In 1907, Gunnar Moore fought Tommy Burns at the National Sporting Club in London. Burns, the then champion, was paid £3,000 for the fight. Incidentally, Gunnar Moore is the one on the floor. Burns won, KO 10.
Let's get ready to rumble!
In 1937, the Welsh mining village of Tony Pandy was in a state of mild fervour. The excitement caused by the man who lived at number 3, Tommy Farr. The villagers sat restless with anticipation, listening intently to the radio. For at Yankee Stadium, New York, battle was about to commence. It was between the British heavyweight champion Tommy Farr and the brown bomber Joe Louis. There were times when Farr exceeded everybody's expectations. But at the end of the day, it was a points win for Louis.
Let's get ready to rumble!
18 years later, Londoner Don Cockle went to San Francisco to fight The Rock, Rocky Marciano. Cockle put up a spirited enough effort, but was belatedly rescued in the 9th.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Blackpool-born Brian London was our next challenger. In '59, he fought Floyd Patterson in Indianapolis. Floyd won with an 11-round KO. London later fought Ali, but lost that one in 3.
Let's get ready to rumble!
In May 1966, probably the most celebrated of British sportsmen, Henry Cooper, stepped into the ring with Muhammad Ali for the second time. 3 years prior, the two had met in a non-title affair, and Henry's hammer, that left hook at the end of round 4, was the most famous memory. In their second fight at Highbury Football Stadium, it was a different story. Henry had performed well, but was cut badly. It was stopped in the 6th.
A second look, and it's all over, it's all over.
Let's get ready to rumble!
In June of 1975, Joe Bugner travelled to Malaysia to challenge Muhammad Ali. In their fight, Bugner boxed defensively and very competently, but with little spirit. And for that, his relationship with the British press and public went sour.
Let's get ready to rumble!
A year later, Bradford-born Richard Dunn took on the might of Ali in Munich. It was a one-sided affair.
He goes down. Another right cross by the champion. And for the 4th time in this fight, as the referee mentions to Ali to go to a neutral corner, Ali seems to care less. Dunn is up at about the count of 8. And we're back with the action. And Ali winding up. 1, 2, and he goes again.
It doesn't seem to be any question that he should not continue.
Well, he's out on his feet, Ferdy, and as a doctor, you know it's about time. And look at Ali.
Look at Ali's windmilling style.
That's it. The referee, Herbert Townsend, is stopping it here in the 5th round. Still the heavyweight champion of the world, successfully defending for the 16th time.
Let's
Frank Bruno's first challenge for the World Heavyweight crown came 7 years ago at Wembley Stadium against terrible Tim Witherspoon. Big Frank was highly charged and confident, and for 11 rounds put up a tremendously brave effort. But then, things went wrong.
Good punch, each of them. But Bruno's hurt the more, and he's under a terrible attack in a neutral corner. And Bruno is close to defeat at this moment. He's going to go down, he's going to go down. Witherspoon's got him in the 11th round, and Bruno goes over, and Witherspoon's hit him while he's on the floor, and the towel has come in from Terry Norris. It's all over. It's all over. And Witherspoon has kept his title.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Challenge number 2 for Frank came 3 years later in Las Vegas, and like Henry Cooper 23 years earlier, a left hook became the fated memory.
Oh, some good shots from Bruno, and he's got him, and he's hurt the champion.
But like our Henry, it wasn't to last.
And Bruno bleeding freely from the nose now.
Right, stop that, let go.
Well, some fearful punishment Bruno took in that little burst from Iron Mike Tyson. Oh, can he survive this round? He's in trouble again. 10 seconds left. Steele looks on. That's enough. That's enough. Bruno's brave challenge has come to an end with just scant seconds remaining of the 5th round.
Let's get ready to rumble!
So up stepped Lennox Lewis, awarded the WBC heavyweight title in January, courtesy of that victory over Ruddock and some ducking by Bow. His first defence in May this year came against Tony TNT Tucker.
Tucker hasn't landed with much in this, the third. Lewis has been the boss in this one. Oh, he's got him with a right. And Tucker is down in round 3 for the first time, as far as we can trace, in his career. That right hand powder keg punch again. There's the 9th, and Lewis starts off where he left off in the 8th. And Tucker is down again. Second time in the contest, round 9. How much more has Tony Tucker got left? Tony Tucker has proved again here that he is still a world-class heavyweight. A lot of people were saying, oh, he's finished, he's shot, he's got nothing left. But he's given Lennox Lewis a fair test. Lewis believes he's got it. Tucker, maybe significantly, didn't lift his arms.
And sure enough, Lewis did have it. Now let's say hello to somebody who knows exactly what it's like to face Lennox Lewis across the ring. The former IBF World Cruiserweight Champion, Glenn McCrory. Glenn stepped up to heavyweight, and yes, sooner or later, he ran into Lennox Lewis. What was it like?
On that occasion, it wasn't very good, I must admit. He's got he physically is very big, got a big physical presence, and I was very surprised by, the reach that he had. I think, we came out of the corners, he threw a jab, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't think he'd left his corner, and I was getting hit. So he's got a big physical presence. He's very good.
A big punch to match, Glenn?
Well, I didn't. I got stopped in 2 rounds, but I didn't think his punching power was surprised me. I didn't think he was the biggest puncher that I'd been in the ring with, but I thought he was, very physically strong. A lot physically stronger than I had expected. I'd wanted to go in and try and rough him up, and at that time I didn't think he was very experienced, and I couldn't. He was just so strong.
As an active fighter, which you still are you pleased at least that Lennox Lewis is doing whatever he can to get rid of the image of the horizontal British heavyweight that's been so prevalent?
You couldn't be anything but pleased. I mean, he carries himself very well, he talks very well, he comes across as a gentleman, and on top of it all, he's a very, very good fighter. So I think he brings a great image.
What would another ex-world champion say about Lennox Lewis as a banner carrier for his sport?
Unquestionably one of the best heavyweights, if not the best heavyweight this country has ever produced. A gentleman, a very articulate young man, and very presentable, lovely guy.
McCrory, you've got yourself into a little bit of trouble in Cardiff. 1 or 2 people around the place have been very surprised that on our Ringside show previewing the big night tonight, on Wednesday night, you actually picked on Bruno as a possible winner.
That's right, and I obviously did a very good job judging by the poll, because I've convinced most of the people of that as well. So I didn't do bad.
Are you still sticking by that, Glenn?
I am. I think it's a different occasion tonight. He's fighting Frank Bruno, who's a big sporting hero, and I think there's going to be mentally, he's got something different to face, and it's how he reacts, you know, with that sort of pressure. You know, he might fall into the trap and make a mistake, and Bruno's so very, very strong himself. I think that's a big plus for him.
Thanks very much to Glenn McCrory. We'll come back to Barry McGuigan. Glenn is off down to ringside to take up the microphone duties with Ian Darke a little later on. After this next break, in our special night of British sporting history, we begin to look at the real men behind the public images that we see.
Frank, you will be knocked out. Fight night. You will leave your feet. Will put you to sleep. I may even bring a pillow to ringside for you. Big boy, you going. You must fall. You will fall.
I'm about to go boom!
This is Cardiff, spiritual home of Welsh sport. The Cardiff Arms Park beginning to come to life. There were fans queuing outside as early as 8 o'clock, and now, as you can see, the crowd is beginning to come in and fill up this magnificent arena. Tonight, venue for the fight all Britain has been waiting to see. Our biggest worry was the weather over the past 48 hours. But look at this. If we can see the moon, that must mean it's a clear night. And if it's a clear night, the great news is it's not going to be raining as we await the making of British sporting history. So fingers crossed, everybody around the country. Now, we mentioned a night when we make history. Down at ringside, Gary Norman is talking to a man who's made his own little bit of boxing history.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I've got with me the former world welterweight champion, none other than Lloyd Hannigan. Lloyd, how you been?
Oh, I'm fine, you know. Just looking to get a fight on.
Last time we saw you was against Paz. You put up a brave performance, but he's not a bad boxer, old Pazienza, is it?
Yeah, it's not bad, but the way it finished, it pushed me at the ring, though, you know. Yeah. And I thought the referee was going to give him a standing count, because just before he pushed me at the ring, I put him down, and he just got up and ran past the referee, that was wrong. They should have given him a standing count. You know?
On the domestic front, you're still the Commonwealth light middleweight champion. What can we expect from you on these shores?
Well, I'm looking to get a fight before the end of the year. And maybe there's someone out there and who want to fight me.
Mention the name. I know it is Kirkland Lang, yeah?
Yeah, I've been hearing like a lot of rumours that Kirkland Lang want to fight me, and if Sky and somebody can get along and put the fight on, I'm ready, able and willing.
Right, we know that. Now let's talk about the big fight tonight. Who do you fancy for that one?
Lennox.
As simple as that?
Simple as that. Lennox, you know, he's not Olympic champion for nothing, and he's done a great job. And Raddock, so Lennox got to be.
The weather's going to stay fine, we think. How do you see the fight going? How will you see it unfolding?
Well, I see Lennox got under Frank's skin, you know, and he's really got to Frank. So Frank's going to come out there and really go at Lennox, which really, ideally, that's Frank's only chance. But if Frank decides and say, well, Lennox think I'm going to come at him, I'm going to stay and box him, then he plays into Lennox's hand. It's a very tricky situation, you know, for Frank, indeed, because Lennox got all the tools that he needs to win a fight. And I certainly think Lennox is going to go out there and just box and then, like, soften Frank a bit, see what he comes with, and then end the fight.
To get rid of him. That's Lewis for you, no problem.
Yeah, knockout.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, Lloyd. We'll go back upstairs to you, Paul.
Thanks to Gary and to Lloyd Hannigan there. Tonight we're going to see not only two different types of boxer in the ring, but also two completely different personalities. Frank Bruno, the folk hero, the genial giant, always fooling around. Lennox Lewis, reserved, quiet and calculating, the Iceman of boxing.
I'm about to go boom!
Are we going to see British heavyweight history created? Because we have never, any of us, heard a British boxer being declared a winner in a world heavyweight title fight. Not even I was old enough to be around when Bob Fitzsimmons was doing his stuff in the last century.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12...
Amid the mayhem of a fight night, the coolest man in town always seems to be Lennox Lewis. He's become British boxing's history man, and some braggarts would be shouting it from the rooftops if they became heavyweight champ. But Lewis is a private, serene man. He has this impenetrable karma. Sometimes you feel he'd hardly bat an eyelid if you told him World War III had broken out.
3 in favor of the winner, and still heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis.
This house in Pebble Beach Drive, Landover, Maryland, has been Lewis's training base. Running, sleeping, stretching and sparring, and endless games of chess for relaxation. Don't get him wrong, the core is solid steel, and his dedication to the cause of greatness is unswerving. But he wears that icy temperament like armor plating.
I think it's something you have to work at, and that comes naturally as well.
But there's a kind of a wall there, I've noticed, and you do some meditation. Don't you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think you've got to focus on what you have to accomplish, and you know, I create my own facade, so it's very important for me to have an even ground around me.
Are there any nerves going on inside in those moments when we see you in the corner before the fights and you look so composed?
No, not really, because you know, I have full confidence in my own ability, and basically I just want to get out and prove it to the world how good Lennox Lewis is.
What makes you angry? Does anything make you angry?
Yeah, when you call me late for dinner, you know, that really makes me angry.
Nothing seems to get to you ever, though.
I won't tell. That'll be telling.
I get the feeling here I'm sort of delving into one of your big secrets, really, your karma, and you want to keep it a secret, really.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about to go.
He's ice cool in his temperament, and he's so calm. We've seen that, we've learnt that. What's he like for you to deal with? Does that make him hard to motivate?
Very intense. Let me explain something to you. This guy, when you talk to him, he gets right into your face, and he listens to everything. He hangs on every word that you say, and it makes it easy. He makes my job very, very easy.
But how do you get him going? I mean, there must be times when somebody like Lennox Lewis, who's that laid back, sometimes says,
no problem.
I'm not in the mood for a really heavy workout today.
Let me explain something to you. He knows that he has to be the best that he can be in order to win these fights. Uneasy legs, the head that wears the crown, as you know. And I don't have to motivate him. He knows Bruno's there, and these guys are trying to take it away from him. When you're the heavyweight champion of the world, or champion of anything, everybody's trying to take it away from you, so you have to do your best. You have to work harder than you ever worked before. I don't have to push him. He comes to me and says, give me another round. There are times when I want to end the workout, he said, can I go a couple more rounds? That's the kind of fight I like to deal with, and that's what he asks for.
How different is he from Sugar Ray Leonard, who you famously worked with before?
Night and day. Two different individuals altogether. You know, the worst thing you can do is try to train a guy like you train someone else. That's a mistake. He's nowhere near Leonard.
How was Leonard different?
Leonard was one of those guys who loved the camera. If the camera was there, Ray might want to work 15 rounds. You may want him to go 6. He may want to do 15. And he loved to play up to the children and everyone in the audience. Ray, he loved the crowd. This guy's different. He's private. He likes to be by himself. He likes to work out where you have peace of mind, and that's what we do sometimes. We just close the gym down and go to work.
Can Lewis build on that fantastic opening round? Remember, though, that Razor Radicus got off the floor to win before. He did it against Bone Crusher Smith. Oh, and Lewis gets through again. He's got him. He's going to be down again here, Lewis. Lewis is down. Ruddock is down for the second time. He's up at about 3. He'll take a mandatory 8 count. Lewis could finish this early. This is explosive stuff here from Lennox Lewis. Ruddock is looking for angles to try and explode his bombs, but it's all Lewis, and he's got him again. That is it, I think. It's all over. It's over. Lennox Lewis has done it. Lennox Lewis will fight for the heavyweight championship of the world.
You sleep, do you, before fights? I mean, that's unheard of, I think, isn't it, before world heavyweight title fights?
Yeah, it helps me relax me, and the fact that I can sleep before a major fight like that shows that I have good temperament and that I'm very relaxed about the fight.
And you play chess in the build-up, and that relaxing?
That relaxes me. It's a good game. It works your brain and keeps me relaxed as well.
Who do you play?
I play everyone. Everybody around me will give me a game.
You win?
Definitely. I never lose. Well, actually, I lost a couple games, but that's because my concentration wasn't there.
I suppose boxing's a kind of chess match, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but that's something I don't think I'll lose at.
What about the fame and adulation that goes with being the champion? Do you like that?
It's something that you have to learn to deal with day at a time, and you know, it's coming to me day at a time, and I'm learning to deal with it every day.
And you've got your mum with you over here. Tell us, how does that all work? What's the setup?
Well, my mother does my cooking for me, and she looks after me, and she gives me that motherly love and motherly advice, which is very important.
Is it an advantage having mum around? Is she your biggest fan, or can she be your worst critic as well?
I think she's my biggest fan, and she's my worst critic. She just keeps me in line.
She goes to all the fights, doesn't she?
Every one. She never misses a bout.
That's unusual, because a lot of women sometimes they just can't bear to watch their man in action.
Well, it's funny with my mother, because, you know, when they show cameras on her during the fight, it's like she's a part of the fight, so she's watching me, but yet a part of me. So I know that she's feeling the punches along with me.
I'm about to go boom!
Tell us what's going to happen in Cardiff when you fight Frank Bruno.
Well, Lennox Lewis is definitely going to win, and he's going to win big.
I'm about to go boom!
More from the champ and the challenger as we continue the build-up to the World Heavyweight Title Showdown. A couple more sporting celebrities in just a moment or two. We're about to be joined by Mickey Duff, and we also expect to have a word soon with the referee tonight, Mickey Vann. But let's now go up to Anna Walker, because I think she's got some more interesting people to talk to.
I have indeed, Paul, yes. The stars are all arriving here. The VIP lounge is packed with celebrities. And with me are two sporting stars who need little introduction, I'm sure. Sharon Davis and Derek Redmond. Now, Sharon, you're not training at the moment for obvious reasons, because you're pregnant.
Yeah, very pregnant. Only months to go, thank goodness. I'm getting very impatient. But I was swimming last night, so I'm still doing a little.
And when's it due?
4 weeks. Yeah, a month's time.
So you have to not get too excited tonight, then?
We could have a delivery in the third row of and rush off.
Now, Derek, you had an injury in Barcelona, that famous occasion when your dad helped you cross the line. Infamous occasion. How are you doing now? Are you back into training?
Yeah, I'm just starting back training athletics-wise, but I'm also playing basketball for Birmingham Bullets, so it gives me something to do in the winter months when there's no athletics competitions, and I'm enjoying it.
Are you into boxing? Are you a boxing fan?
Yeah, I'm not a boxing expert, but we're both into all sports, but I do like boxing. Yeah, I enjoy it.
What about you, Sharon? Have you seen quite a few fights before?
This is only the second live fight that I've been to. I'm a bit squeamish, really, so if there's not too much blood, I'm all the way through. But no, I enjoy it. I like to watch it on the television, so...
Right, now I have to ask both of you for a prediction, the bit you've been dreading. Who are you going for, Derek?
Lewis.
No question? Is it going to be a knockout?
I don't think it's going to be a knockout. I think they're both good boxers, but I think Lewis is just slightly better than Bruno, so I'd have to go the Lewis way.
And what about you, Sharon?
Well, the same way, we have arguments at the breakfast table, so, you know, but I'm just really looking forward to it being a good fight, and I'd love to see a long fight, so it's exciting, and we get to see, you know, lots of action.
So, Sting went for Bruno, Sharon and Derek are both going for Lewis. So we'll see who wins. Paul?
Sharon, Derek and Anna, thank you very much indeed, and good wishes to the family-to-be. Mickey Duff will be joining myself and Barry McGuigan in just a moment or two, and after this break, the man in the blue corner up close, Frank Bruno.
You're watching Sky.
I respect him as a boxer. As a human being, he stinks, you know?
I'm about to go boom!
We're live and fighting in Cardiff. The undercard and the build-up to the main event, Frank Bruno against Lennox Lewis, is well underway. You can see some of the preliminary bouts continue behind us, but the seats in this stadium are about to start to fill, and an expected crowd in here tonight of around about 35,000 people in one of the finest outdoor sporting arenas anywhere in Europe. It's been a pretty hot debate so far. You've been telling us who you think will win tonight. These are the latest findings from our telephone poll. Lennox Lewis starting to creep up a bit. 35.8% believe the champion will hold on to his WBC crown tonight, but still a popular favourite. Frank Bruno, nearly 2/3 of all the people who have called in so far, believe this will be the night at the third attempt when Bruno makes his mark as a world champion. The telephone lines have been hot. Please keep trying. These are the numbers: 0891 456 302 for the champion Lewis. For the challenger Bruno, let us know, 0891 456 301. It's been a pretty hot debate so far, and I'm sure it's about to get much hotter. The man who has to ensure fair play in the ring tonight is talking now to Ian Dark.
Yes, Mickey Van. It's a big, big night for him as well. Mickey, how excited are you about handling this Battle of Britain?
Excited. That's all I can say, really. I'm just over the moon.
Well, this would be the biggest fight that you would have handled. How many world title fights have you had before?
22.
In which you've reffed or judged?
Reffed and judged, yeah, and all different ones, you know.
How difficult a job is it to be handling 34 stone of heavyweight in there?
Well, I'm not pushing them around or anything like that. So, you know, they're pros. They know the game. This is the supreme prize. They know they're not going to go in there. I don't expect them to anyway. I'm ready for anything that happens. You know, they're not going to rough and tumble and mess about. They're boxers. You know, they're class fighters, both of them.
Some talk about what might happen if it suddenly pours with rain. God forbid that happening. It's lovely and dry at the moment. It's getting a bit cold. But what will be your criteria of judgment if it came to a difficult decision where you might have to call the fight off in mid-fight?
Well, the criteria is if the fight it has to be stopped in the first 3 rounds because of the weather, of course, then it will go to a no decision. If it goes after the 3 rounds, then and it has to be stopped because of the rain, then it'll go to the points.
How would you make that decision, though? What would be the key factor in making that decision to call it off?
The safety of the fighters. Slip, you know, if they can't keep their feet, you know, they could slip and fall onto a punch. You know, this is really just the safety of the fighters.
You were involved in a bit of a controversy. Everybody's read about it last week in the Pernell-Whittaker-Chavez fight when you deducted Whittaker the point. You've been headline news in America, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but let's get it right. I did not deduct a point. I scored the fight as I saw it, without deducting a point. Right? So, yeah, I've been headline news all over. So I'm now Mr. Controversial.
It's not phasing you at all, though. I can see that. You've got a great big smile on your face.
Yeah, I don't worry about that. As I say, I worry about paying me poll tax, not about that sort of thing.
Mickey, have a great night tonight.
I will. I will. Thank you very much.
That's fight referee Mickey Van for you.
Thanks. More from Ian Dark at ringside in just a moment or two. With me here in the studio position, a man who will have something to say, I'm sure, on Mickey Van and other subjects related to this fight in just a moment or two. But why don't we first get close to Frank Bruno, the man, the star of TV commercials, pantomime, and the ring throughout the 1980s. And now he's hoping into the 90s too.
I'm about to go boom!
I'm not hungry, I'm starving forever I want to go, you know what I mean? Like, it's so difficult to put into words, you know? I'm quite comfortably whatever I'm doing, you know what I mean? But I'm always striving to get for more and more. That ain't greediness, it's just like a lot of people just settle for what they've got and be contented. I'm contented, but I want to strive for bigger and much more better things. That's why I'm going for the World Heavyweight Championship, and I'm glad the guy I'm fighting is going to be Lennox Lewis.
Do you think you came into the world this way, Frank, or is this developed as you've, you know, grown up, become a man, and had to go out and earn your corn, as you would call it?
I think I was blessed, and I was put on this earth for a reason, you know. My dad always wanted a boy, and I was the boy that my dad wanted. And from 15, my dad died, and I know my dad's watching me, and I know that is my aim, that is my dream, to be a boxer. And my dream and my aim is to be heavyweight champion of the world. I've had 2 chances, yes. Very, very lucky to get a 3rd chance, but that is my dream. That's why I'm so certain that I'm going to beat and knock out Lennox Lewis. And there is not no hype. There is not no things getting to me. That is just plain true facts.
Did you ever think that when you were growing up and getting into boxing that you could ever possibly fight 3 times for the World Heavyweight crown?
Not really, Paul. Not really. When I was at school, when I was growing up, I didn't even know what I was going to be, you know what I mean? Because, like, I didn't have the education to be similar like yourself, be a newsman, a sportsman, doing ducking and diving, be a lawyer, solicitor, a bank clerk or anything like that. So I didn't know what I was going to do, you know what I mean? Unless I was going to work on a building site or make tea for people or work in the factory, you know?
I'm about to go boom!
In anything, like my daughters, I've got 2 daughters, I could never say defeat is the worst thing what could happen to anybody, because anybody that gets everything too straight, you know what I mean, can't be a perfect human being. You've got to go through different defeats, different obstacles in your life to sort of like appreciate the good. And I needed to go through them defeats in my life and earlier on to see what sort of like character I was, because it's all right, people are front runners, you know what I mean? Like, I think Lennox Lewis is a very, very good front runner, in my book and my opinion, yeah? But everybody can be a wicked front runner, but when the chips are down, they crack up and they crumble and it shows their character. And I got my backside well whipped by Bone Crusher Smith. I'm not running away from nothing. And people tend to say that I was chinny with the Bone Crusher Smith. If you are chinny, yeah, Bone Crusher Smith turned out to be one of the most hardest punchers, if not out of 5 men in the world, you know what I mean? Like George Foreman and all them sort of like different things. Anybody that is chinny, the first punch you hit someone was a little bit chinny, their legs will go. It didn't take to the 10th round for the guy to put me down. Watch that fight very closely, Paul Dempsey, mate. The guy chucked about 23 punches at my chin, and I was a little bit too brave for my own good. A chinny guy, just one punch from the first round that he catches you would go down. So I just want to, you know what I mean, get everything straight.
Oh, he's got him with the left. Smith got him with the left, and Bruno's legs went. And he better get off those ropes and out of trouble quickly. And Bruno is taking too much. And he doesn't know where he is. Smith doing a Cummings on him. And Bruno looks out on his feet to me. Oh, he's got him. Oh, dear me, the end of the Bruno story by the look of this. He took it all on the ropes, and the left hook whipped over, and he's counted out. Bruno is knocked out in the 10th round.
What do you now remember about the Mike Tyson fight, Frank?
It was a nightmare, to be quite honest, as regards as the fight took about 14 months or 12 months to sort of like come across. If you really realise I was fighting him at the time, he got married to Robin Gibbons, and he got divorced to Robin Gibbons. He crashed his car, he was doing this, had a fight with Mitch Green at Harlem and all them different things, and I was on standby all the time. I went down, I lost about nearly 2 stone up and down trying to train for that. Mentally, I didn't know if I was coming or going, but it's the experience again. Lost fair and square. The fight was supposed to be at Wembley, and they said if I don't go to Vegas, we don't have no fight at all. I wasn't in the driving seat, so I had to go along with it, you know. But another experience, and I went 5 rounds with Mike Tyson, you know, and like he was meant to be the most dangerous puncher in. I got stopped on my feet.
And Bruno bleeding freely from the nose now. Well, some fearful punishment Bruno took in that little burst from Iron Mike Tyson. Oh, can he survive this round? He's in trouble again. 10 seconds left. Steele looks on. That's enough. That's enough. Bruno's brave challenge has come to an end with just scant seconds remaining of the 5th round. Well, predictable mayhem in the ring. There's Frank Bruno. Tyson gives him a hug.
I believe in God very, very strongly, you know. Every time I go to my bed, I bless myself 3 times. Every time I get up in the day, I bless myself, because I'm very, very touched. I'm very, very blessed, and I thank God for whatever I got in life, and I appreciate it. I'm a humble human being, so I do believe in God, yes.
About to go boom!
Are you happy?
Very, very happy. Paul, I've never been so happy in all my life, mate. You know what I mean? It's the most happiest I've ever been in my life. You know what I mean? Sometimes I tend to get a little bit carried away in what I'm saying here, but I'm trying to hold my emotions until the fight, and then I explode like a time bomb, mate. Can't wait for it. Can't wait.
I'm about to go boom!
In particular, he can't wait for the arrival in the arena of the world heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis, because we're getting closer and closer to the business hour here in Cardiff. These are live pictures from backstage now, where the men of the local constabulary here in Cardiff are keeping back the crowd, which has thronged around the streets around this stadium for the past couple of hours. People arriving, and my guests here in the studio are telling me that there are thousands and thousands of people walking up tonight to get tickets on the door. So as well as the 25,000 odd that have been sold pre-fight night, we're expecting maybe 5 or even 10,000 people extra to get into this stadium tonight. They love their boxing in this part of the world. Mickey Duff's alongside me here. His man Frank Bruno we've just been speaking to. Mickey, it's a big fight night, isn't it? It's not Wembley, but it's not bad, Cardiff.
It's a fantastic fight night, and you haven't made me feel any better by showing me Bruno's last three defeats in a row. But I am confident that today we will see a different Bruno. I have never been more confident in my life. This is a Bruno of the past. He had a rest for 3.5 years and had time to come to terms with himself.
You have seen him through his professional career for 11 years in total. Why is he going to be different on this night, Mickey?
Because his mentality has changed. For 3 or 4 or 5 days before a fight, you couldn't talk to Frank Bruno. I've been sitting in his bedroom today, he'd been signing autographs. People have brought gloves up to sign and programs, and he's as chatty as anything. I couldn't go near him before the Tyson fight or the Witherspoon fights. He was a different person altogether. That 3.5 years rest has given him a maturity that his entire attitude has changed. And one of the reasons that Bruno used to go tired in fights is he used to tense up. And if you do that for several rounds, you take all the energy out of yourself. He's far more relaxed these days.
But a lot of boxing people are telling me that under pressure, when the pressure comes on, it's a world championship fight, you go back to your old habits, hard though you're trying to break them. Would you go along with that?
I would say by and large, yes. I would say that having seen him today, everything points to the opposite.
I want you to just have a look at this, Mickey, because I think you're going to enjoy this. We were down a moment or two with the local constabulary. Now, they're waiting for Lennox Lewis, the world champion, to arrive, and it can be thirsty work from what we hear. Have a look at that. Never on duty. Well, never on camera, anyway. Barry McGuigan, do you go along with the things that Mickey Duff believes about the new Bruno?
I have the utmost respect for this man because there's nobody in the business any more experienced than he is. But it surprises me somewhat to think that having sort of spent 3 years out of the ring when boxing's all about continuity, coming back in there, already having had 2 goes at the title, and now his third attempt. I don't think, and nobody will convince me that he'll be any better this time at 30, coming on 32, than he was 4 or 5 years ago when he fought Tyson.
Between 31 and 32 for a heavyweight is the prime time of his career. All the great heavyweights have been at their very best, including Muhammad Ali, when they were 31, 32.
As a promoter and a mentor and a manager, you've been in your prime for what, 25 years and the rest. You've been to the top of the mountain in every division, most divisions anyway, except the heavyweight division. Now, this is the man we think that you're going to have to knock out of the way. I believe that Lennox Lewis is about to make his entrance into the arena here. Well, here's Ollie Dunlap from the camp, so Lennox won't be far away. Panos Eliadis, I should say, excuse me.
Correct.
The man with the money behind Lennox Lewis, and the champion won't be far away, I'm sure. As you await Lewis's arrival there, Mickey, do you feel in your heart that this might be your last chance yourself to get to become the man behind a world heavyweight champion?
Not at all. I manage the heavyweight champion of Europe. At present, he's unbeaten, Henry Akinwanda. He's heavyweight champion of Europe. He's heavyweight champion of the Commonwealth, and he's unbeaten in 28 fights. Why would I worry about? You never know what's around the corner tomorrow. Boxing is a funny business. I would be quiet for a while if Bruno lost, but I'm not thinking losing. I'm thinking victory.
We heard that Lennox Lewis did his best to try and avoid our cameras, actually, by going around the block, and he's also, as a consequence, keeping the crowd waiting. But then, if you're a star, you can afford to do that kind of thing, I suppose. Mickey, we want to see you at the top of the pile because you're such an integral part of the British fight scene. So if it's not to be Frank's night, you're telling us that there's somebody else just around the corner.
Always somebody else. There's a kid on the programme tonight called Joey Calzaghe. He's been British champion 3 years running at different weights. He's now a super middleweight. He's 21 years of age. He's a star of the future.
Thanks very much for coming up to talk to us, Mickey Duff. We wish everything that you would wish upon yourself on this night, and no doubt what happens tonight, we'll see you very soon again. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us. We're continuing the build-up to the big one. It's history in the making here in Cardiff, and the arena is beginning to fill up for that reason. The Arms Park, we're expecting a crowd of around 35,000 people, and when we rejoin you, we'll take a little look inside the camps of the 2 protagonists tonight. to the Arms Park in Cardiff. We've been awaiting the arrival of the world heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis, and I believe that he's about to make his entrance. Indeed, here he comes, Barry McGuigan. Not easy to walk through the crowd like this, surely.
No, I tell you, but at this stage, he's switched on, he's focused, the nerves are gone. Now's the time for the big fight.
Let's hear what he has to say. Let's see if Gary Norman can catch a word.
Lennox, quick word. How are you feeling? Couple of hours to go.
Feel good. Can't wait.
Last message for Frank?
He's in trouble. I'm ready.
I'll come see you soon.
He's being ushered in. He's got a sort of one of those pirate-type hats on. It's black and white. He goes into the dressing room with his manager, Frank Bruno.
Hard to know what goes on behind those shades. The champion, Lennox Lewis, he's grown from contender to world champion. There has been one big change along the way, though. Many boxing people were quietly astonished when Lewis decided to dispense with his longtime trainer, John Davenport. Out went the tough, no-nonsense disciplinarian. In came Pepe Correa.
I'm about to go boom!
You're trying to clock this guy with your goddamn right hand, Lennox, now. Now, come on, give me this damn double jab, and then you put the right hand down. Then you give me the hook left right hand. Mix your punches up. Back this piece of shit up. Back him up.
If you want a mild-mannered, shy introvert in your corner, Pepe Correa is most definitely not your man. The 52-year-old American motivator and strategist fires from the mouth like an overworked machine gun. He's handled the great Sugar Ray Leonard, not to mention world champions Simon Brown and Morris Blocker in his native Washington. Inside the camp, they say he's refined the already classy skills of Lennox Lewis since taking over as trainer 19 months ago. In the corner, he chats incessantly, but he doesn't believe in crowding his fighters or taking over their lives.
There you go, champ. That's it.
It's really no problem. I give a guy his space. Once he comes in here at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock or whatever time I want him in, he do his job, he leaves, and I go my way. I always give my fighters their space, and that's the most important thing you can do when you're working with professional fighters, is to give them their space. So for anybody, for that matter, give your wife, anybody, that space, and that's what I do for him, give him space.
But how do you get him going? I mean, there must be times when somebody like Lennox Lewis, who's that laid back, sometimes says,
no problem.
I'm not in the mood for a really heavy workout today.
Let me explain something to you. He knows that he has to be the best that he can be in order to win these fights. Uneasy lays the head that wears the crown, as you know. And I don't have to motivate him. He knows Bruno's there, and these guys are trying to take it away from him. When you're the heavyweight champion of the world, or champion of anything, everybody's trying to take it away from you, so you have to do your best. You have to work harder than you ever worked before. I don't have to push him. He comes to me and says, give me another round. There are times when I want to end the workout, he said, can I go a couple more rounds? That's the kind of fight I like to deal with, and that's what he asks for.
This whole round, you're going to stay outside and use your jab. Nothing but the jab. Jab, jab, jab. All right? Get your shit back together. Give me that goddamn order. This round, you stay outside and you use the jab. You got me? Use the jab on me. Come on. Give me the jab this round. Give me the jab.
What about this fight with Bruno? Tell us how you rate Bruno.
Bruno, hell of a puncher. Always in condition. But he brings one thing to the table. He brings that glass chin. And once you've been knocked out, you're very easily knocked out again. I just try to set him up, peck, pop away, and let my guy try to look good. And when he sticks his crazy chin up, we try to knock it off on him.
You've mentioned the fact that he does have the reputation of being a puncher. Has that played its part in the kind of strategy you've brought to the sparring here?
It makes it very easy for me because I'm going to tell you something. As you can see by the workout here today, I'm prepared for the puncher. And I'm going to give him something, take it from him, give him a little bit, take it from him, and knock him out.
Seconds out.
11th round.
The WBC champion Lewis is set on a collision course with the WBA and IBF title holder Riddick Bowe, who looks so good against Evander Holyfield. But Correa believes he has the best heavyweight in the world, bar none. And one day against Bowe, he says Lewis will prove it.
The best is yet to come. The night that he knocks out Riddick Bowe, ridiculous boy as he called him, that is the night that you see the best of Lennox Lewis. From round 1 to round 5, it's going to be holy hell for both guys. And 6 or 7, Lennox knocks him out. I mean, out. I'm going to yell from my corner, timber, because he's going to hit that canvas.
I'm about to go boom!
He excites me, man. And watching him is like watching the second coming of Muhammad Ali to watch this guy work. There's some days when I say, oh, man, you're looking like Muhammad. Second coming of Muhammad Ali, Mark my words, this guy, you're going to hear a lot about him. He's going to make a big, big noise in the heavyweight division. Big noise.
How long do you think he can stay around at the top?
As long as he wants to. As I tell him all the time, the only guy I know that can beat Lennox Lewis is Lennox Lewis.
How can that happen? How can that happen?
Well, if you let down, all of a sudden you get a big head and you don't want to train like you're supposed to, and you think you're the toughest guy in the world, that's when you get beat. As long as he realizes that I have to go to work and have to train hard because these guys are trying to take it away from me, he'll stay champion. And as long as he listens to Lennox Lewis and the immediate camp, he'll do fine. When you start listening to the outside guys trying to tell you how good you are and all this good stuff because they're trying to ease in and get a buck here or there, that's when you make a mistake for yourself. A lot of guys, they get to the top of the ladder, and all of a sudden they start listening to all these outside guys. I don't think that'll happen with Lennox Lewis because he's somewhat of a private person. But you never know what happens in the world because there's so many people who have the gift of the gab. And hopefully he will stay wise and continue to listen to us and keep the job as it's going right now.
In a line, your prediction for the Bruno fight in Cardiff is?
Anywhere from 1 to 5. I look for Bruno to hit the canvas.
I'm about to go boom!
This is the scene in the dressing room area at the Cardiff Arms Park. The arrival of Frank Bruno, the challenger. He's going into this ritual preparing for a world title for the 3rd time. He seems like he's still the people's choice. I wonder if we can just grab a quick word with him with Gary Norman.
All right, cheers, nice one.
How are you feeling?
Very, very fine. Everything's going like a jigsaw puzzle. The jigsaw puzzle should be finished tonight when I get in the ring, mate. Very, very confident, very relaxed, very chilled, mate. Very relaxed. You can see who the fans are going for tonight, and I'm very chilled, very relaxed.
Last message for Lennox?
I'm going to knock him out so hard he's got to pay to get back in. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Saving all my emotions. It's going to be like,
Frank.
all right, Dave, yeah? Nice one.
All the fans are with you at the moment, isn't it?
Thank you very much. It's nice.
Come on, Pompey, kick off. Talk to him.
Big fight, folks. This is what it means. The crowd's beginning to come in. And Anna Walker upstairs in the VIP area is still finding very interesting people to talk to.
Well, it's amazing who you bump into up in the VIP lounge, you know. Celebrities, all of them, all from different walks of life. And this one needs no introduction. Entrepreneur, businessman, VIP and Virgin boss, Richard Branson. What are you doing here?
Well, I've come to have an enjoyable evening, and I've brought my son along. And Lennox Lewis flies Virgin, and he was good enough to invite me down and gave me a couple of tickets.
So are you into boxing yourself? Do you go to quite a few fights?
No, but I mean, obviously this is one of those fights that I think everybody would like to go to. And I like Frank Bruno, I like Lennox Lewis, and I'm just looking forward to a good evening.
Now, you might actually get involved in the next fight in Las Vegas, mightn't you?
Yes, so the winner will be fighting in Las Vegas, and we've been asked if we'll lay some flights on to get people there, and we're trying to sort of see if we can arrange, you know, amongst our schedule with our airline to get some people out there. So I think that's going to happen in I don't know, April or May.
Now, I gather you're going to have some kind of innovation for the fight fans to get involved.
Yes, I mean on all Virgin flights, we're putting seatback videos, and with 14 channels of video system. We're also going to have a number of channels of gaming, so roulette and blackjack and other things. And on the Las Vegas flights, we're going to have, you know, proper croupiers and roulette tables, and give people a good time on the way over there.
Innovative as ever. Now, before you go, I have to ask you for your prediction. Who do you think is going to win this?
Well, normally I support the underdog. I don't know whether Frank flies us there, but since Lennox does, I think Lennox on the fourth.
Lennox on the 4th, you heard it here first. And you got a few plugs in for Virgin as well.
I didn't do that.
Thanks very much for joining us. And now back to you, Paul.
Thanks to Anna. He didn't get where he is today, etc., etc. I wonder if he's thinking about buying a fighter or two. Watch this space for more. Now, the phones have been red hot. You've been ringing in all evening to tell us who you think's going to win. The percentage stays strong in favour of Frank Bruno, the challenger. We saw the public reception he got when he arrived in the arena here in Cardiff. 63.3% of you believe it will be his night, and only 36.7% so far who phoned in believe that Lennox Lewis will leave this magnificent arena as still the WBC World Heavyweight Champion. The numbers to ring for Lennox Lewis, 0891 456 302, and for Frank Bruno, same prefix, 456 301. 02 for Lewis, 01 for Bruno. Ahead on Sky Sports, over the next few days, Anna Walker will be back in business on Goals on Sunday in the company of John Salako. All the goals from the Top Flight programme on Saturday, and also as an extra treat for motorsports fans during that programme, the Superbike race live from Donington. Same afternoon, Super Sunday with Richard Keys and the team from White Hart Lane this week. Tottenham Hotspur against Everton, the show underway from 2 p.m. And on Monday Night Football, a big Lancashire derby from Main Road. Manchester City, not out of the news all season so far. They're at home to Oldham Athletic, show underway from 7. And for baseball fans, the Major League World Series Finals underway next Saturday week, the 16th of October, from 1 a.m. We'll be staying up all night to bring you some of the top action from the USA. But for now, the very best from this side of the Atlantic. It's the showdown for the WBC World Heavyweight title in the Cardiff Arms Park, the scene of dreams down the years, and history is being made here tonight.
You're watching Sky.
In 2 hours' time, Frank, the hammer is coming down.
I'm about to go boom!
Think Frank is worried? Well, he doesn't look too worried, does he? This is live from Frank Bruno's dressing room. He's been through this ritual a total of 39 times in his professional career, but I doubt if any of these evenings have meant quite as much as it does tonight for Frank Bruno. Surely his last attempt at the World Heavyweight crown. But doesn't he look cool and in control? Your preparation can be perfect, but ask any fighter and he'll tell you that when you step into the four corners of truth, you go there alone. The best you can hope for is somebody behind you like George Francis. Now aged 64, Francis has trained 4 men to become world champions. From John Conti on, they all agree George is the best in the business.
I'm about to go boom!
There are some things in boxing that money cannot buy. The most precious and hard-earned of all commodities is experience, and George Francis has a lifetime's worth of boxing knowledge. Every aspect of Bruno's work is supervised by a man who was preparing fighters for world titles when Bruno was starting school. He's devoted his life to boxing. His reward is something else that money cannot buy: lasting respect.
He's like my guru, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm spending too much money, he'll bollock me, he'll tell me off and tell me to cool down. If I'm training too hard, he'll tell me to train. If I'm getting, you know, he does everything. He just surrounds me 24 hours a day as regards to my training, so he's very, very good for me, you know?
Well, he's changed in the last 2 years more than any time in his life, because I've known him since a little boy. He used to come in my gym and spar with my gang, you know, as I used to call him. And I think now he's matured and he's his own boss. And I think he's a very happier person than ever I've known him. And he's a loose-limbed guy now, rather than the big, bulky, heavy guy that he used to be. And I think he's changed completely.
And do you honestly feel in your heart, George, that your man Frank Bruno is now better equipped for a world title showdown than he has been in the past?
Yes, I do, because Frank was a very tight guy when he was younger. And that's the first thing I noticed when I took over his training. And whether it was, I have to be careful what I say, whether it was anything around it, I don't know, but he used to tighten up before fights, you know, and because I used to row him, what's the matter with you? And whine, you know, loosen up. But now he does that, and you know, people say, did he learn anything from boxing Tyson? And I say, look, forget the first fight with the Dutchman, but look at the last 3 fights. He's done to those opponents what Tyson done to him. All right, he's been a bit rough. He may be rough in this fight. We won't start it, but if we have to, then we will. But I hope he don't, and I hope it's a very clean fight. But he learned something by Tyson. You've got to be strong from 1 to 12.
Seconds out.
Okay, I've trained champions, but you're only as good as what they've got between their ears, you know. But a trainer's job is to try and say, look, it's the toughest sport in the world. You can't be a nice guy. It broke my heart when he hit Tyson with a Sunday punch. What did he do? He stood there.
Oh, some good shots from Bruno, and he's got him, and he's hurt the champion. Well, those who said that Frank Bruno would freeze must eat their words. He caught the champion and he hurt him. And nobody has hurt Mike Tyson before, but Bruno did.
It broke my heart because you only get one chance like that. But I think he's learned from that. And I know one thing. You've got two 16.5 fellas coming at one another, 6.5 stone. And, you know, you can be miles in front, miles behind, but one punch makes all the difference. And that's what excites heavyweights.
Any fighter will tell you, you can have the perfect family, the perfect training camp, and perfect preparation. But when you step into the four corners of truth, you're all alone. The best you can hope for is someone like George Francis over your shoulder.
If you're in the corner, they've got to have confidence in you. And sometimes I swear, sometimes I slap it. It's not personal, it's just to bring the best out of them at that time.
What would you say to Frank on the morning of the fight, or when you sit down the last time to talk?
Be yourself and go and do your best. That's all anybody can do in life.
He's been doing it pretty well, George Francis. From the time of John Conti on, he's been involved with world champions. He's had a host of world-class fighters, Barry McGuigan.
He was in my corner when I won the world title.
Indeed. How good is he?
Exceptionally good. One of the best trainers that we have this side of the world. No question about that. But there's only so much he can do for the guy. He's made him better. He's made him more aggressive. He's certainly made him rougher on the inside. He's used a few illegal tactics and got away with it, got warned it. And I suppose that's not a bad thing because he was always too nice a guy. I've never seen him as belligerent as he is for this fight. He's very aggressive and very angry, looks very angry. Now that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. You've got to be able to control it. If he goes in there and is angry in the ring, he get knocked out.
Can George control that at this stage? Can anybody do that?
I don't think so. When he gets through those ropes, that anger can overcome you. And you know what to say about an angry fighter. An angry fighter is easy to beat.
Let's have a look at some action, shall we? This is the build-up, continuing, of course, to the main event, but we've got a good little bout at super middleweight down at ringside. Ian Dark's waiting to bring us up to date with this. This is the meeting of Joe Calzaghe, one of the local boys from Newbridge, just down the road from here in Cardiff, and he's up against Paul Hanlon from Birmingham tonight. Let's join Ian.
So away we go here. Joe Calzaghe, top-class amateur, three-time ABA champion in the plain black shorts, and Paul Hanlon with the stripe down his shorts. Calzaghe, big things expected of him. He's a Mickey Duff fighter. How good is he going to be in the pro ranks here at the super middleweight division? Hanlon, who's managed by famous fight character Norman Nobbs. He's been a pro since 1986, but he's been a bit of a win some, lose some kind of fighter, and he's lost more than he's won. Calzaghe, you'll notice, leading with the right. He's a southpaw. And success there for Hanlon with the right hand.
Break. Step back.
Always a big moment, Glenn McCrory, for a fighter making his professional debut.
He looks quite good. He's got a nice style, nice and tall and rangy. He looks very good. It's the right sort of fight that he needs. I'd like to see him use his jab a little bit more. But obviously he wants to get this sort of opponent out of the way as quick as he can.
Not a bad right uppercut there from Hanlon as they worked inside. Hanlon, who's from Birmingham. He's been improving gradually. He's won 4 out of 7 in the last year, Hanlon, so he's going the right way generally, but he didn't really ought to be beating somebody like Calzaghe, though he might give him quite a tough test on his debut.
Well, he could, because obviously he's had a lot of fights, so he's got a lot more experience. And this guy's having his very first fight, so it's, you know, it's still a tough test.
Well, Ivor Bassett there, the referee, jumped in, and I thought he was going to administer some kind of count for a moment there as they both landed, and I think really Hanlon came off the worst in the exchange, and now the southpaw Calzaghe is moving into top gear. And down he goes. He needs to take a shot to Hanlon.
3, 4, 5.
Count goes on. He's waiting to clear his head. That's good experience, but he's in trouble, Glenn.
He's in desperate trouble. I noticed at the end of that exchange there, he had his head, he was looking at the canvas. You've got no chance of getting out of the way of the shots if you're not going to see them. So Calzaghe letting all the shots go. Good punch there.
He's growing in confidence, starting to wind up his shots. And you get the feeling this might only be a matter of time.
Well, Calzaghe knows he can hurt him, so now he's putting He's thrown everything.
Oh, he's got him again with the right hand. It's the second count of the round. He's being told to get to a neutral corner, and how much more of this will Hanlon be able to take? He's up at 8, he's brave, and the referee's taking a look at him and saying no more. It's a first round win on his debut for Joe Calzaghe from Newbridge in Gwent. The Welsh fans like this. They like the look of this 21-year-old who was an ABA champion at welterweight, light middleweight and middleweight, and well, he did nothing wrong there, Glenn.
He did everything right. Very, very fast. He knew when he got his man going, he threw everything. And that was very good. I think the referee made the right decision to call it up when it was, because there was no way Hanlon was going to do anything. He'd been hurt, and the referee did the right thing.
Terry Lawless is very happy with him, and Joe Calzaghe is off the mark from the Duff Lawless camp, and they might have a bit of a star in the making there in Joe Calzaghe, though of course there'll be bigger tests lying ahead. First round win for him here over Paul Hanlon of Birmingham, whose record drops to 7 wins and now 17 defeats.
Thanks to Ian and Glenn McCrory, and of course Ian and Glenn will keep their eye on the best of the ringside action. But let's go back inside the dressing room area, shall we? Because this is the man that
he's only had 1 defeat
is involved in the main event. Lennox Lewis, the world heavyweight champion, believed to be picking up a £3.5 million paycheck for this one. But believe me, if Lennox Lewis does win this one tonight, that is only the start of the really big earnings for the man who is the WBC world heavyweight champion. He hasn't lost yet. And who's in the future? Maybe among the men in the immediate future would be Tommy Morrison if Lewis is successful tonight. We could maybe get more on that by going down to Gary Norman. He's talking to a man who may know.
Thanks, Paul. I've got Bob Aaron with me, respected worldwide fight promoter. First of all, let's talk about tonight's fight. How do you see that going, Bob?
Well, I think Lewis should win, and he should win quite quickly. I look for a knockout in about 2 rounds. He's far too fast for Bruno. He hits too hard. I think Frank is going to go out early. I like Frank. He's a terrific guy, but he's no match for Lennox Lewis.
Tommy Morrison is due next for Lennox Lewis. Is that true? Is it on paper?
Yes, and that's why I'm here. We're going to announce the fight tomorrow, and it's going to be in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand, the new hotel in Las Vegas, on March the 5th.
He's got a fight or 2 before that, hasn't he? Who's next for Tommy Morrison?
Tommy fights Michael Bent, pretty good fighter. But again, I think that Tommy figures to beat Bent just the way Lewis should beat Bruno tonight.
How would you see Lewis Morrison? That's a very interesting fight, a very explosive puncher, both sides of the fence.
I think that we have analyzed Lewis as being open for a left hook, and that's Tommy's best punch.
Absolutely.
I really think that Tommy has an excellent chance against Lennox Lewis. Lewis is a very, very good fighter, but I think that Tommy would have a much better chance with Lennox Lewis than, say, with a Riddick Bowe.
One other super fight that the world want to see, all the boxing fans want to see, is Nunn against Tony. You could make that happen. Will it happen?
I think that'll happen. James Toney is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. He fights the postman, Tony Thornton, next on the same card that Morrison's fighting Bent on October 29th. And then he has to do his mandatory fight in January, and then he'll probably fight Michael Nunn.
Bob, thanks for keeping us posted. Enjoy the fight. Back to you, Paul.
Thanks once more to Gary. That's all into the future. Tonight is about 2 men, Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno, and it's a piece of sporting history here in Britain. The streets of Cardiff are thronged with people making their way now to the Arms Park, just over an hour away from the big event. The weather is still picture perfect, I'm glad to say. And when these people get inside the stadium, they're going to see a spectacle that they won't forget. From every vantage point in this stadium, you've got a perfect view. They've thought about everything here. We'll continue the build-up in just a moment.
You're watching Sky.
Left into McGuigan's face. He's not giving in easily. But he's got him again. Left, right. This time on his face. And this time he will not make it. He's counted out. Knockout. 3rd round. McGuigan retains the European title.
Anybody you recognise there? Hair's got a little thinner, actually,
yeah,
but he tells me he's still
don't,
really sharp.
Don't remind me. My father says I washed my face too far back.
Barry McGuigan went on to become world featherweight champion not so very long ago. But in that period, Barry, it was you little fellas, middleweights and below, who were keeping the flag flying for boxing in this part of the world. The heavyweights weren't doing so well.
No.
Maybe it's turning around a little bit with Lewis and Bruno now.
Yeah, certainly the boxing in these small islands is really good at the moment. We've got a super middleweight 2 champions. We've got former featherweight champions, 2 former featherweight champions. So the sport is looking very healthy.
We've got something you might appreciate, Barry, some live action now down at ringside again. This is the British light welterweight title eliminator. Carlos Chase from Bushy, Ross Hale from Bristol. We're in round 3, I believe, and it's Ian.
Absolutely right, Paul, and Ross Hale is the one in the purple shorts here. He's had Chase down earlier in this round, and he's dominated the fight so far. The winner of this will be right in the British super middleweight, light welterweight title picture. Hale is a southpaw. He's been very aggressive, very busy, particularly with the left hook. And Chase fought back well in the first round, but he hasn't been doing too much since then.
Yes, Hale's in control. I give him the last 2 rounds. Looking very strong. He's been in control. He's used that good right hand right from the beginning. And he's kept on top. He's kept the pressure on top of Chase. And Chase is not very happy.
Chase has got to somehow wrestle back the initiative here. But Hale is on a good run. He looks confident. He's had just 1 defeat in 18 contests. He's ranked number 7 in Britain. From the Chris Sanagar camp. That's a really good right hand from Chase. And he comes back. And a little twist here in the drama. Towards the end of round 3. Chase down in this round, but coming back well in these last few seconds. Hale found the way to both.
He did some good work from Chase there. That was the first time when he really started to let a few punches go. And he really needs to do that. He's got to try and push Hale back. He's got to throw some shots.
Oh, the right hand there was a good one from Chase as well. Hale's legs seem to stiffen a little bit. He's taken it. They're both tiring. And give Carlos Chase credit. He's taken a lot of shots from Hale, but he's beginning to come back here quite significantly. This fight really the pick of the Lewis-Bruno undercard. End of round 3. Good fight. Welcome back live to Cardiff Arms Park. The crowd growing all the time, the atmosphere growing all the time towards the Lennox Lewis Frank Bruno confrontation. You're watching live pictures of a British light welterweight title eliminator between Carlos Chase and this man, Ross Hale from Bristol. Hale is 26, Chase is 27. Hale in the purple shorts. Chase down in round 3, but coming back well towards the end of the round. It's a fair old fight, Glenn McCrory.
It's a very good fight. A very good fight. Hale did very well first 2 rounds, but it was good to see Chase come back in the fight. The first time he really just started to throw some shots and he started to land. I think the key for Chase is he's got to try and push Hale back. He's allowed Hale to come forward all the time. He's allowed him to control with that jab. Chase needs to push him back and get his own shots off.
Hale actually broke his jaw in his only defeat against Andreas Panay, but he's come back since then with a couple of very quick wins over Mark Anthony and Gary Barron.
So his management, they've managed to keep him busy, which would be a lot better. Chase has been out of action an awful lot, just having 1 fight before this, so he's going to be pretty rusty. So really he needs to start working. He needs to get his rhythm going and get into this fight.
That's right, Chase just the 1 fight so far this year, a 62-second win over Ian Honeywood, who's rather a faded force these days, the former Southern Area champion. Chase has never lost his composure in this fight, despite the fact that he's been under fire for the most part. And you feeling, Glenn, that possibly there could be a turnaround?
It could be. It looks that it could happen. I think Hale's corner have got to tell him, be in control a little bit more. Just control yourself. He's getting a little bit on edge. He's trying a little bit too hard. He's looking for the big shots all the time. He's got to relax a little bit. But as you said, Chase has kept composure the whole time. And as it went on, he's getting more and more into this fight.
This is the 4th round. Hale, I think, will be ahead on the scorecard of referee Mickey Van, who, of course, referees the big one later on. So he's just warming up for the night as well. It just slowed down a bit in this 4th round, and that was to be expected, really, because the early pace was furious.
Break! Break when you're told.
25 to midnight, and the temperature dropping at ringside as we watch this good battle for two fighters looking for a peek at a British title shot. Chase is dangerous with those right-hand counters.
He is, and that's the right shot for the southpaw. He's got to, after the jab, he's got to come across that right hand.
You're watching live pictures from Cardiff Arms Park, where Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno will be meeting in a little over an hour from now. Don't go to bed, stay up, because the tension here at ringside now is almost tangible. Fantastic stadium. Seen some great rugby union and indeed in later years soccer action as well. A little bit of a hold up at the start of this round as Carlos Chase has to have his gum shield put back in by Harry Holland over there. Chase behind on points, you'd think, so far.
Supposed to be future British champions, right? Fight like it, right? Let's stop this about, do the job right, all right?
Well, Mickey Van there just reading the riot act of both the fighters, saying stop messing about, let's do the job right, and it's starting to rain here now.
It is the worst thing that could possibly happen. It is storming very, very light at this moment, but it's coming down just as the action starts in the ring.
Hale, the southpaw, with just that one defeat so far, and a nice bright start to this round. He just went off the boil a bit in round 4. I think Mickey Van just could see the action just slowing down a bit, and he wanted to get it back to that nice fast tempo they had earlier.
I think he thought it was getting a little bit messy as well.
The champion, British champion at this weight is Andy Holligan, the Liverpool boy who's handled by Mickey Duff. All the time now the people are coming out of the pubs and clubs and bars of Cardiff and heading for the Arms Park. Chase with some good counters there, and Hale just looking a little bit open. Chase may feel he's taken a lot of Hale's best punches, and he's still there and still might be pitching here.
I think he looks, a lot more relaxed, Chase. He just seems to be very calm. He's doing his work nice, and he's countering some good shots. He's coming in the fight more and more. Good right hand there.
Yes, Chase looks quite loose and lithe and rhythmical.
That's right, and Hale, it's noticeable his work's become a little bit untidy. I think at times he's looking for the one big shot. He's neglecting his jab a little bit, which he was doing well in the first 2 rounds.
The thing is, of course, that Chase needs to pick up some rounds. He's behind on the scorecards. You would think that's another slip, and now this is a bit of a worry, because you wonder whether the canvas is getting a little bit wet from the rain. We hope that isn't the case. They're talking about changing the canvas if it does get wet for the big fight, so there's a new dry one on, but it is a worry. Frankly, the canopy over the ring is not the best I've ever seen. It's not big enough, frankly. Action continues. A good left hand, that, from Ross Hale.
He has strong punches, but he has much more success with that left hand when he throws it behind the jab. At times he's just trying to throw it as a single shot, but when he uses it behind the jab, it's a good strong shot.
Quite bizarre circumstances, really. These fighters won't have fought before in cold conditions and rain like this. You're watching the Bruno Lewis confrontation show from Cardiff. Now here's the slip, Glenn. Is the canvas getting wet from the rain? Carlos Chase goes down.
Well, it could be. There just doesn't seem to be enough, rain at this moment to do that. I think he was a little bit off balance. That elbow probably caught him off balance, and he went over.
Ah, now he slips again, and there was nobody near him that time. And now this is a worry. People are putting their coats on, and Carlos Chase, that time it really was an authentic slip, and I think it was because the canvas was wet. And now Hale slips. Now, this is worrying, quite honestly.
It is. I was just going to say previous that Chase was the only one that was slipping, so maybe it was just that there was not much grip on his shoes. But now Hale's gone over, so maybe this is what happened. A little bit of light rain, and it's making the canvas slippy.
And this is only light rain. Fair right hand there from Chase. Hale picks it up again, and once again he loses his footing, Carlos Chase. Now, I'm sorry to keep labouring this point, but it is pretty significant, and he's done it again. When you think that Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno come out here in an hour's time, they've got all sorts of drying equipment around here as well, but this is only light rain. Let's hope it's just a shower and it quickly blows over. It's been dry so far tonight. He's done it again. Well, they may feel they need studs at the moment.
I think they do. Chase is slipping about an awful lot. He's looking around. He's very ill at ease on his feet.
Interesting too that the referee is the man who will be facing the big decisions later on when Lewis fights Bruno. We do not want it reduced to farce.
Come on, right away. Box on.
Seems to me that Hale has landed with most of the significant punches in this fight, though.
He has. I've got him, quite in a good lead. He's done the better boxing. He's done a good jab, good strong work, and I think I've got him ahead. It's still a good close fight. Chase is still putting up a competitive argument.
Now
It's good work from Hale.
That was interesting, Glenn. He was caught by the right hand. Not only was the punch that put him down, he was off balance and then slipped on the wet canvas, and that's why Mickey Van didn't administer a count.
Come on, right away. Right.
These conditions are not happy. Oh, he's got him again with a right. Again, he lost his footing. Now, that's time there is a count.
I think he is getting hurt, but just the momentum is pushing that back, and he's losing his grip as well. So I think it's a bit of both. He's obviously been calling a good shot, and that's just throwing his foot back.
Now, what you're watching here could have some significance to the action later on. The effect of the rain on the canvas, and Chase is slipping over all over the place. They're slipping and they're sliding in there, and it's a worry. Welcome back to the Cardiff Arms Park, where we've got some light rain. Now, Frank Maloney, central figure in the drama, the manager of Lennox Lewis. Well, if he's worried about what's going on, it's not showing. Have another bite of the ice cream, Frank. 7th round then here. Carlos Chase in the red and white trunks, Ross Hale in the purple from Bristol. We think ahead in the fight so far. Chase has been down a couple of times. And this is an eliminator, just to remind you, for the British Light Welterweight Championship. Chase has got to do more, Glenn McCrory.
He is. He's waiting too long. He's waiting for Hale to throw his shots, and Hale's landing with his shots. He's got to try and get up first. I think the best thing he can do is try and be in control, be first. He's got to try and push Ross Hale back. He's got to get him on the back foot. If he can do that, I think he might have a chance.
He slipped again there, Chase. He just can't find any leverage, and that has to be really regarded as a slip, although there was a punch landed at the same time. It's an impossible job for Mickey Van to rule whether these are legitimate knockdowns.
Holding. Away.
I think he took the right decision then. I don't think the punch would have put him down as it was, but he lost his footing as it landed.
It also can't be very good for Carlos Chase's confidence. Every time he gets hit with a shot, he's down on one knee.
Good shots from Hale. expecting the short right from him. Hale, who did start as the favourite for this fight, the southpaw from Chris Sanagar's camp in Bristol. He's had a first-round win over former British champion Sugar Jibiliru in his career, and he won the Western Area welterweight title against Julian Evis as well. A short right this time. Now, does Mickey Van count that as a knockdown? Chase is not protesting, he's taking the count, so he's got a bit of blood around his nose and under his right eye as well.
Yes, I think that was a good shot. He came in with that short right hand, and Chase got up, and then he went back down on one knee. So I think, you know, he obviously felt that he could do with that little bit extra rest.
Well, I have to say, this is getting a bit like a pantomime on ice out there.
Well, if the canvas is going to be slippy, if that is the problem, then that's got to be bad for Lennox Lewis, who I think in this fight is going to use a lot of movement.
No count this time, says Mickey Van. But how many times has Chase been on the floor for one reason or another? I've lost count, maybe a dozen. Always a little bit of a risk, of course, putting on an open-air fight as late as October the 1st. That's the aerial view of Cardiff's National Stadium, which has seen the likes of Barry John, JPR Williams. Now look at the corner of Carlos Chase there. Look at the boots. They're doing some work on his boots, look, to try and stop him from slipping. Now, what would that they be rubbing on, do you reckon, Glenn?
I think they'll just be trying to use a sharp edge, and they'll be trying to scuff the sole to add some grip there, because a lot of times the fighters use the same boots in the gym. They get wore out very easily, so they lose tread. So I think they're just trying to scuff them up a bit so there's a bit more grip.
I saw one or two of the British Boxing Board of Control officials looking a little bit worried as well between the rounds about developments here. Hale is on top in the fight and deserves to be, and Chase goes down again.
He is. I think the only couple of rounds that Hale hasn't, you know, been as good is when he's neglected that jab. And when he used that good southpaw jab, he looks very strong, and he's been on top most of the time.
I think Hale also has the advantage of boxing groups with a better grip.
I think so. But we saw him just a few seconds ago, he had a little stumble there. Just lost his footing slightly.
Hale has retained the initiative most of the way here and must be in a very handy points lead here. Could be a big win for him. I'm sure both fighters, though, would have hoped for it to have transpired in slightly more helpful conditions than the ones we have with the rain falling. The worrying thing, Glenn, is with the canopy over the ring, the rain is obviously getting through and down onto the surface, isn't it?
It does also. The canopy is very high, and it just comes in, it just blows in from the side, and it lies on the canvas.
Right hand from Hale, who must feel as if he's in charge of things out there at the moment. They are, let me reinforce the point, probably going to change the canvas so that there's a dry one down for the big fight. That's the plan anyway. Be interesting to have a look after this fight whether they bring out any kinds of machines or anything to try and make the surface a wee bit drier. The good news is the rain has stopped for the moment. Again, Mickey Van says no knockdown. I've never seen anything quite like this, have you, Glenn?
I haven't. Strange scenes. But it's still good work in the ring. Hale's looking very strong, throwing good combinations.
I'm just wondering whether they're going to actually... Well, there's us. Glenn McCrory and myself. We're trying to cover up from the rain. It has actually eased down, and I think they're going to stop the fight there. They're retiring Carlos Chase. They realise he can't go on. Hale was a good winner of the fight, but one has to say it, that was a farce. Glenn?
Yes, I think he's got to be a little bit worried. He was over many, many times. He's down on one knee from the canvas. Whether he was just, whether he played on it a little bit more because he was getting hurt. Fighters sometimes do that. They sometimes look for a little bits of excuses. That could have been a factor, or maybe it is getting very slippy up there. But Ross Hale, it was a good performance, very strong, used the jab well, and it was a very good result.
In the 8th round, Carlos Chase has retired. The winner, Ross Hale.
Well, it's a big win for Hale. Just look in the record books, as they say. And he may be on his way to a British title shot, eventually with Andy Holligan, though there are others in the queue as well. And for Carlos Chase, an unhappy night in which he must have felt he needed studs in his boots. Harry Holland, who made the decision to retire him.
He's been retired by his corner. I'm sure we'll see him back in the ring before long.
I just wonder whether the British Boxing Board might give Chase another chance and another eliminator in those kind of circumstances, but we'll wait and see on that one. Let's go back to Paul Dempsey to have some more chat.
Thanks to Glenn and to Ian Dark once more. Barry McGuigan's up here with me, the former world featherweight champion, and there are one or two questions raised by that eliminator about the big event. From the boxer's point of view, what are the issues now that clearly that canvas is getting wet?
Well, that really puts a different scenario, a whole brand new scenario on the fight itself. What happens if it rains more? With that new canvas, even if they put a new canvas on, what happens is the water lies on top of the new canvas. It won't absorb it. A new impressive looking blue canvas like that. Look at the way Chase's feet were going. I mean, okay, Hale didn't go down as much, but he went down himself too. It's absolutely essential that you grip that you have a good grip of the ground, because that determines how fast you punch and how hard you punch. But if the water lies on the top of the canvas, we can't really see up close enough if it's doing that. But judging by the amount of time the guy slipped, it must be. This will change throw a whole new scenario on top of the fight. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to change the canvas. If it rains again, it'll be every bit as bad. So they need to change it every round.
Well, I think the intention would be by the promoter that if the rain is going to start to come down and be a serious threat to the bill, unfortunately the guys on the bill, on the undercard, are going to have to just accept that this is a big night and we're going to prepare to get Frank Bruno and Lennox Lewis into the ring. Now, the idea of that would be that we're going to get a clear new canvas out in time. And indeed, as we speak,
they're laying a new canvas. Again, it's going to be essential that the canvas is tight and firm. It's going to take 20 minutes to half an hour to lay that. So the guys that are going to come out next will have a short wait before they're allowed to come out.
Barry, the other thing that struck me during watching that fight, if the guys are having footwear, generally the boxer's boot or shoe is a very smooth surfaced, smooth-soled shoe. Yeah. What about using more rugged footwear, training shoes, or other shoes with more grip?
That's a good question, Paul. You're allowed to wear whatever you wish on your feet. You can wear hobnail boots if you wish, as long as you don't put them on your fist. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any actual rule as to what you wear on your feet, provided it's acceptable by the authorities. But you can wear training shoes if you want. And if this rain is prolonged, there's no reason why some of these guys shouldn't wear a grippier sole. But that's throws a whole new light on it.
Who would worry more of the two main protagonists tonight, Lewis or Bruno?
Well, Bruno is not as hand-eye coordinated as Lewis. He doesn't do things as fluently as Lewis. Lewis has got much more natural hand-eye coordination, natural ability, and he seems to have much more rhythm attached to his style. So maybe he will do it better, but who knows?
it could be one of those situations where the conditions prove to be a great leveler. It happens in a lot of sports.
Well, certainly it could give one of the two fighters favour. You know.
One would think also that the question is confidence, that the boxers are going to have to feel confident in that situation. Now, maybe they're not feeling so confident right now about going out to fight in this arena, but listen, the crowd is coming in confident that this fight is going to go on, and the Cardiff Arms Park is really beginning to fill up now. We're expecting something in the order of 35,000 people by fight time. Incidentally, if the fight does go off on schedule, that will be at just about 1 o'clock. Now, the crowd's beginning to come in here, and all night you've been ringing us to tell us your opinions about the outcome of the big one. Lewis supported by the minority still, the champion. 37.9% of you believe that it will be Lennox Lewis's night, but still an overwhelming majority of public opinion, Frank Bruno, 62.1% believe that Bruno will become the world heavyweight champion at the third attempt tonight. These are the numbers to call. The telephones have been buzzing all night. 0891 456 302 for Lennox Lewis, 0891 456 301 for Frank Bruno. 2 for Lewis, 1 for Bruno, and less than an hour to the main event. Stay with us.
In 1 hour's time, Frank, prepare to meet your maker.
I'm about to go boom!
I think he's probably got the message by now, champ. It sounds like the public is rallying behind Frank Bruno in our telephone poll, but on the other hand, Frank knows that that's not going to save him when he goes into the ring in less than an hour to meet the WBC World Heavyweight Champion Lennox Lewis, the 6th time tonight in the history of British boxing in this country that the title has been up for grabs. There's been some famous nights, but this is promising to be the most famous of the lot. Lots and lots of famous people have shown up for the occasion. Let's go up to the VIP lounge once more and rejoin Anna Walker.
Yes, well, with me now are two people who are very at home at the Arms Park. Former rugby union players, now play rugby league, Jonathan Davis and Kevin Ellis. Now, you've got a big game coming up on Sunday, haven't you, Jonathan?
Yes, we play New Zealand in Swansea on Sunday, so it's straight back to bed after this.
I'll believe you. Now, what about you, Kevin? You're in training for this big game as well.
That's right, yes. Very much looking forward to it. But it's great to come to such an occasion like this. But I think we'll have to nip home straight after the fight.
Just in case your trainer's watching, yeah. Now that, Jonathan, I mean, this is an amazing stadium here, isn't it? A really big stage for a big event. What's it like when you go out there in front of the crowd?
Well, it's 60,000 there when you run out, and it's fantastic atmosphere. It just hits you as soon as you walk out. I'm sure it'll hit Lewis and Bruno tonight. It's a fantastic stadium, and it looks entirely different tonight. Very, very impressive. And the most important thing, it puts Wales and Cardiff on the map, world map.
It really is important to the Welsh people to stage this here, isn't it? What does it mean to people in Cardiff and Wales in general?
I think it's more of an occasion. I don't think maybe people who aren't interested in boxing, would want to come along to actually see, a world title fight, and two big names like Lewis and Bruno. It's caught the imagination of the Welsh public, and like I said, anything that comes to Wales, it's great for Wales.
Right, I'd like you both to give me a prediction, please. I know you've been dreading doing this. Now, Kevin, you first. Who are you going for tonight?
I'm going to go for Lennox Lewis in the 5th or the 6th. It's going to be a hard test. I'd like Bruno to come through, but I think it's going to be Lewis.
So your head's telling you it's Lewis and your heart's with Bruno.
That's right.
Now, what about you, Jonathan?
Yeah, similar for me. I'd like Frank to put a great fight up. But he's got a chance. He's got a great punch, and if he lands a punch, he could drop Lewis. So you've got to go for Lennox Lewis, but you never know. One punch and could be Frank.
Okay, so two votes for Lewis here. Back to you, Paul.
Thanks to Anna. Jonathan Davis does know all about winning at this venue after all. Let's go and have a look outside, shall we? Barry McGuigan mentioned to me just a minute ago that he thought that the logical thing was to get a new canvas down into the ring arena, and Barry, from the look of things, that's exactly what's happening.
Yes, but I thought they would have removed the canvas underneath, but they haven't. They've just pulled it down on top. Surely that will make it just a slippy grip. It's an unusual occurrence. I've never seen this happen before, where they've had to change the canvas.
We shall wait developments with interest here. It's not the quantity, it's the quality. the work ethic in the training camp of the world champion. It's run by two men devoted to the search for perfection, the conditioner Courtney Shand and the trainer Pepe Correa. When Ian Darke spent time with those two in Washington 3 weeks back, he found them getting the work out of the way to prepare for what they call the party.
I'm about to go boom!
And watching him is like watching the second coming of Muhammad Ali to watch this guy work. And he will be sharper on fight night than anyone's ever seen him before.
The key thing, you know, is what he does in the ring. It's not what he does on the road.
Boxers live by a monastic training regime, shutting themselves away as they chisel their bodies into shape, growing ever harder and meaner as fight night approaches, running and resting, sleeping and sparring for day after day after day. Mum Violet has been doing the cooking for Lewis. Lewis has been criticized for going to America for his preparation, but there in the Sugar Ray Leonard gym near Washington, he says the sparring is top class. Much of Lewis's work is scientifically programmed by conditioner Courtney Shand, and he puts quality before quantity.
We don't really work on miles.
No.
We work on intensity, you know, because the miles that you do, all it does is breaks your body down. But if you can train, if a guy can train at 10 minutes at near max intensity, he'll do better than a guy who goes and does 6 miles at like low intensity. You'll be in better shape, and that's what the conditioning part's about.
There you go, champ. That's it.
He's in as good a shape as I've seen him. He came into camp in tremendous shape. If I had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, he came into shape at about a 5. And right now he's hovering at about 9.5. We're holding him back a little, so we'll have some left for the next 3 weeks that we got to go. With Lennox, I have no problems. I just have to tell him, okay, this is what we're going to do, and he just does it. I mean, his dedication, his desire, his determination is so high that I don't have any real problems with him. He's like a lot of fun to work with. It's just like, Lennox, I want you to do this. We're going to do X amount. And he says, yeah, and he just does it.
I don't have to motivate him. He knows Bruno's there, and these guys are trying to take it away from him. When you're the heavyweight champion of the world or champion of anything, everybody's trying to take it away from you, so you have to do your best. You have to work harder than you ever worked before. I don't have to push him. He comes to me and says, give me another round. There are times when I want to end the workout, he said, can I go a couple more rounds? That's the kind of fight I like to deal with, and that's what he asks for.
There you go, champ. That's it.
The injury to the right hand, you had the operation. How's that patched up?
It's patched up better than expected because, you know, my doctor said I'm supposed to go at it slow, but as soon as I got into the ring, I just started punching hard on it, and it hasn't given me a problem yet.
I think a lot of people don't know how serious it was for that last fight, the Tony Tucker fight. I think you can probably reveal all now, can't you?
Yeah, it was pretty serious because coming up to the fight, I didn't really want a lot of people to know about it, and it affected my training. But this time, you know, I could do a lot of the things I couldn't do in the last training camp. That's doing the sparring and hitting the bag.
So it was difficult during that fight. You were having to really punch with the right hand through pain, were you?
Yeah, you know, I seen the opportunity that I heard him, and I just wanted to get rid of him as soon as possible and get him out of there and just go have the operation on the hand and heal it properly.
He caught a heck of a time trying to get in shape for that fight. With the problem with the hand, we couldn't spar regular. But I pulled teeth and I got the job done.
He's razor sharp for this one. You couldn't be happier, or how is it?
He will be sharper on fight night than anyone's ever seen it before.
It's going to be a fun night. We've been working hard. And we look at what we do here as the work. What he does on October 1st is fun. We're billing it as dance night. It's time to go for the dance. It's time for a party.
More of the real life story, of course, in Lennox Lewis' book produced this week. And Barry McGuigan, one of the most fascinating things in the book is the story behind the training camp. These guys are super professional. They leave nothing to chance. We hear that in the build-up to the fight against Gary Mason, Correa had X's marked on the head guards of the sparring partners so that they'd know the eye that Mason had had trouble with before and that Lennox could work on it. They leave nothing to chance. Do you believe they've done their calculations right this time?
Well, that remains to be seen, but obviously preparation is absolutely essential. Preparation for a world title fight is absolutely it's imperative that it's done properly. I listened to what Courtney Shan said there. He said, all the work's done here and it's fun on the night. I wouldn't exactly call it fun, but the harder you work in the gym, the harder you prepare, the easier you make it in there.
Try this for size. 200 rounds of sparring with 5 different partners, 450 miles of road work, 120 rounds pounding the heavy bag, 120 rounds on the speed ball, 150 rounds working the pads held by your trainer, George Francis, and then just to wind down, 180 miles of evening stroll. That's what's going to the offices like for Frank Bruno, his preparation for this moment.
About to go.
This is Bruno's backyard, the town of Brentwood in Essex, an air of well-to-do calm on the fringes of suburbia. Bruno and family have found tranquility and security here. He's a church-going man. The locals know he's around, but nobody bothers him much. For a boy who started out in a reform school himself, Bruno has come a long, long way. Training headquarters for this fight are also on Bruno's manor, but a big change to the normal routine here. Bruno, the fanatical trainer, has always seemed to enjoy the sacrifice of leaving familiar surroundings behind. This time, he's done the hard work at the Bell House School. But for Bruno, gym is the only subject on the timetable. The surroundings may be different, but the camp is as disciplined and dedicated as ever. Bruno and George Francis start work early and leave nothing to chance. They're also not afraid of trying something new. Keith Morton, a new conditioning trainer, a man with a message.
Stamina, strength, suppleness, and a lot of positive thinking, mental conditioning, which is very important. We've, again, hit it from various different angles to make sure the variation's there to avoid boredom and get the maximum results. Well, to give you a rough idea, again, the frequency of training can be up to 6 times a week and up to twice a day. It's a combination of general strength training, using floor exercising and using some very special machines called air machines, which again are very safe for the body without damaging it. We've also done a lot of stamina work in the form of jogging, walking up hills with weight jackets on, various different ways of doing it, with a lot of swimming, which has helped the mobility and flexibility as well as the general stamina, heart and lungs. We've done a lot of stretching exercises, which again has been in the form of exercise on the floor. We've also brought in, to help the flexibility, a lot of karate. And the karate really has helped his flexibility, his mobility, his coordination and his basic reactions. And more importantly, I feel the karate has provided a great variation, and also for positive thinking, it's given him an even stronger mind, which is very useful.
When Bruno came looking for a general fitness coach in the aftermath to defeat by Tyson, he found a trainer with expert knowledge of mobility and suppleness, not the traditional way, and it took some getting used to.
But he's only 23. He hasn't been to Loughborough College, but he's got a knack of doing these things. And when Frank first approached me, you know, I don't have anybody where I'm around. I don't trust anybody with my person except myself. And I was very reluctant. But then when I saw him at work, and he wasn't a bullshitter, excuse me swearing, he was a genuine article, I've encouraged it, and it's shown its results, because Frank needs a lot of stretching, a lot of loosening, more than anyone I've ever trained. So I think it's a good added person to the team. You know, like, I've trained all those champions, but it can't make me big-headed. It means I've done it my way. But you mustn't be an ostrich and put your head in the sand and nothing's happening around there. There's young guys coming along with modern ideas. And like Holyfield, I realised that it's good to take up every little thing that we think would give us an edge. And I think we've been very, very slow, because, like, you know, all the top trainers I know, they do their own thing. And I don't say they're afraid of someone coming in, but they keep them away, like I've done. But I think if you're going to be progressive, you've got to bring new ideas, and if they help, then give them a try.
There's a lot of mental preparation going on, because, like, the things I've got to do before, me and George used to run for about 35, 40 minutes and do some exercise, what lasting about an hour in the morning. Now I'm training 2 hours in the morning and bringing up, doing so many different things, and I'm getting stretched much more, and I feel much more flexibility, and he conditions my mind as well as my body, you know, in different things that he does. Talking to me, putting me through different programs, things what I didn't think human possible that I could do, weights that I couldn't, you know what I mean, think normally I couldn't do, you know what I mean, things, stretching. It's like a yoga he's bringing in. The things what I do is just unbelievable. I feel that a complete different new person.
But it doesn't come easily for any athlete to change himself past the age of 30.
Frank was a very tight guy when he was younger, and that's the first thing I noticed when I took over his training. And whether it was, I have to be careful what I say, whether it was anything around it, I don't know, but he used to tighten up before fights, you know, and because I used to rap him, what's the matter with you? And wine, you know, loosen up.
How much is the specific training that you've put together with Frank geared to encountering Lennox Lewis in the ring?
Well, I think there's always has been a great deal of study on each of Frank's opponents in video form, and you know I'm very, very fortunate to have an exceptional person with George Francis. He's an extremely good trainer, and I've never come across a guy quite like it. I've learned so much. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned so much from him. And as I said to you before, if I only learned half of what George knows, in 20 years' time I'd be very happy. So really, he's been advising me to work with certain areas that will help Frank, and I've then gone away, sat down, thought, and tried to, again, relate it to how we can improve it from a fitness point of view. And we've done a lot of specific circuit-type training with certain movements, using various equipment, to improve certain movements that will be beneficial to worry Lennox Lewis.
Bruno retains the magnetic quality, the genuine warmth that attracts fans of all ages, but he admits he can become withdrawn and moody in the build-up to a fight. What's he like to work with from a personal point of view? Because you obviously have to establish a personal relationship with anybody you're teaching. Sure, well, as I said before, it's always on a one-to-one basis, so, you know, you've got to get on with the person. I get on with most people, but Frank is extremely good to work with. He's a very affable guy, he's a lovely guy. Where people get the idea that he hasn't got a nasty streak, I will never know, because when he channels it now, believe me, he's nasty. I know for a fact that he wants it so badly, and he's in the best shape of his life, mentally, physically, that I would find it hard to believe that when someone said, oh, he's lost that, it's just another one. I think this is a totally different ballgame. His training methods have changed so dramatically that I think you can't compare the fights. This is a completely different fight, and there's also a lot of personal desire to win this fight as well.
I'm about to go boom!
Yes, he's as impressive as ever, isn't he? But Barry McGuigan, the criticisms of Bruno's training camp, number one, he hasn't even gone away from home to train this time.
That's an unusual thing. Normally you need to get away from your family to prepare for a fight. Even if you can see them at the weekends, well and good, but you need to be away from them and away from that environment. That's unusual, the fact that he's trained at home. But he seems to be more relaxed, I don't know. Certainly, of what I've seen with this new trainer, Keith Morton, the one thing he's instilled in him and seems to have worked on is his flexibility. Seems to be a more supple fighter. I don't think he can change a guy completely, but he certainly seems to have made him more supple.
Interesting. Listen, let's go back upstairs to the VIP lounge where all the celebrities are now arriving. Anna Walker's found some more interesting people to talk to.
Well, we've mixed with pop stars up here and stars from the world of sport, and now with me is one of Wales's favourite daughters, Catherine Zeta-Jones, well-known actress. What are you doing here, Catherine? You into boxing?
I'm not, no. It's the first time I've ever been to a boxing match, professional or amateur. That's my dad who's dragged me along. He's an avid fan, so we're going to have a nice evening.
And before I ask you who's going to win, let's talk a bit about Wales and what this means to Wales, because it's such a big occasion, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we have the rugby, which unfortunately they're not doing too well. Don't say that. The boys are in. Yeah, I think it's great that, you know, you think a little village in Iowa knows where Cardiff is and what the Welsh are all about.
Now, everybody's really worried about the weather here. Is it always like this?
Oh, listen, this is just a little trickle. I mean, I was brought up with this. I mean, I live on the coast, and it's like, you know, the blizzards are happening down there. Oh, this is a little trickle, and what the problem is.
It should be a terrific event anyway. Now, who are you going for? I won't ask you anything technical, because I know you don't want to talk boxing, really.
I warned you not to say anything technical. I don't know anything about it.
Who's it going to be, then, Bruno or Lewis?
I don't know. I think public opinion is Lewis, and I'm going with that. But I'd love to see Frankie do it, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just here for the good time and the party and the camaraderie, and I want to sing the Welsh national anthem and things like that. You know, so proud.
Okay, terrific, Catherine. I know you're extremely busy yourself with doing Catherine Cooks and dramas and all that sort of thing. So thanks for sparing the time to come and talk to us here.
Pleasure.
And we'll look forward to the game later on.
We were out for dinner last night.
Getting pretty crowded in there, isn't it? We're moments away now from fight time, I have to tell you. The big news is that the fight time has been brought forward, so the crowd is really starting to fit in quickly now. We're going to try to take advantage in the break of the weather, fingers crossed that it will last, and fight time has been pulled forward by, we think, 20 minutes. So if you're just coming in, perfect timing. If you've been with us, keep on staying with us, because it's not going to be far away now. Now the ring, which is the crucial thing, there's been rain in the air, but this is the new canvas down, and it's being covered to ensure that when Lewis and Bruno go out to fight, it will be dry. Henry Cooper will remember 1966 when he fought for the World Crown. Henry's working on one of the radio stations here tonight, but it's live on Sky Sports, as indeed other top things are over this weekend. Sunday midday goals on Sunday. Anna Walker and John Salako looking back to the top goals from the top flight on Saturday. Superbikes as well. Super Sunday, Tottenham Hotspur versus Everton from White Hart Lane. And on Monday night football, Manchester City against Oldham Athletic from Main Road. But I somehow doubt that the crowd will be quite as big as we're expecting it here in Cardiff. We're anticipating 35,000 people. The last time there was a world title fight in this stadium was 1944. It was a British lightweight title. I don't somehow think it will quite make history in the way it will here tonight.
You're watching Sky Sports.
Coverage of the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World is sponsored by Reebok.
Raining punches in all directions. Ali's all business in there now. He senses the end. Oh, some good shots from Bruno, and he's got it, and he's hurt the champion.
The WBC World Heavyweight Championship.
All I'm going to do, I'm going to let my fist do the talking.
Frank Bruno prepared to meet the worst nightmare.
Hope you've enjoyed the show so far, but believe me, it's all about to begin. Let's get to ringside, our commentator, Ian Darke.
And in under 10 minutes time from now, we expect Frank Bruno to be making his entrance into this arena. The lights picked out there on the canopy over the ring. The good news is that the rain has stopped. There are covers on the actual canvas, almost like a test match wicket overnight. It's being covered up to keep it dry, and that's good news. There are lots and lots of celebrities at ringside, real showbiz atmosphere. Let's join our MC, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, our celebrities this evening come from all around the globe. They come from the football world, the entertainment world, boxing, athletics. We welcome them all this evening. Britain's former heavyweight, everyone's favourite. It's lovely to see him here tonight, Billy Walker. From the swimming world, Sharon Davis. From the football world, John Regis. From athletics, Tony Jarrett and Derek Redmond. Pauline Quirk and Lenny Henry are with us this evening from off the box. Former featherweight champion of the world, Howard Winston. Wales's very own European flyweight champion, Robbie Regan. We also welcome Phil Collins and Genesis this evening. Former flyweight champion of the world, Charlie Magray. Former light heavyweight champion of the world, John Conti. DJ, everyone's favourite, Mike Smith is with us. From the athletics world, Linford Christie, Colin Jackson. And we also welcome the boss of Virgin with us this evening, Richard Branson. And also, I'm sure you'd like to join me in welcoming, working for Sky Television this evening, former cruiserweight champion of the world, Glenn McCrory. And of course, working for HBO from America, the former heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman.
Just some of the many, many big names who are gathered here. It's an atmosphere that is high in tension, dripping with drama. Real sporting theatre in this stadium that has seen so many famous moments down the years. And another one we feel about to unfold. Frank Bruno at this moment will be just working out in his dressing room. Shadow boxing, I'm sure. The same to Lennox Lewis. They'll want to come in warm on this cold, cold night in Cardiff.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the Welsh national anthem to be sung for us this evening by Jason Howard of Merthyr Tydfil, international opera singer.
brilliant. You can understand why visiting rugby union teams playing Wales know that they kind of get the impression they're playing away from home, Glenn McCrory.
That's right. It's absolutely fabulous here. The atmosphere is really good. What a brilliant singer. Really got us in the mood.
What about the two fighters now, Glenn? You've been through moments like this leading to a world title fight. What will be going through their mind now as the moment of destiny, as it were, approaches?
Well, these last couple of minutes are the worst minutes. You're right before the fight, the worst possible time. They'll be very nervous. They just want to hear the words, "You're next, it's time to go," and then everything stops. They're ready to go, and all of a sudden they're full of confidence.
Now there's the Lennox Lewis dressing room. That's Pepe Correa, the trainer, and he's going to come into the ring glistening. How does he look to you, Glenn?
Looks very well, as usual, in superb condition. Nice and relaxed he looks. He's going to have to warm up very well in that dressing room. It is a major factor that they're not cold when they come out, because that can be very, very bad.
Always seems so laid back, Lennox Lewis, but for this fight he's very motivated. Frank Maloney was saying whatever button Frank Bruno has pushed here, I wished other people would push it as well, because he's fired up and he's really, in plain language, he wants to go out there and do a real job on Bruno, I think.
Well, I think one of the things that Lewis has always been noted for is he's very calm, he's very relaxed, he has his plan and he follows that. I hope that he doesn't, because Bruno's such a sporting figure, such a big hero, that he doesn't try to do something different, that he doesn't take unnecessary chances, and that he follows the same game plan.
So Frank Bruno, I'm sure, will be going through similar things backstage. But I must say, when he arrived earlier, he was chewing gum, he was so jaunty, Bruno, and he looked like a man who really did believe that the big shot was on for him.
He does. It's always very hard to tell. You can never tell whether they're very nervous and it's a little bit of an act, or whether he did look very up, very fired up, very happy, very calm. He looks very good, Frank.
Well, you can see now how big the crowd has built to. They were somewhere up around the 30,000 mark. There are a few empty seats up in the stand, but remember, when they have an international here, they don't have all these people on the pitch as well. The ticket prices ranging from £25 to £250.
It's an absolutely fabulous arena as well for boxing. It's so close. The atmosphere is fabulous.
We're hearing from backstage that there's a slight delay with the fighters coming out because the doctors are still examining them. Big security presence as well, as always, and that's good to see. Everything is set here. We just now really await the entry of the gladiators, as it were, Glenn.
That's right, and I'm sure it'll be very quickly. They'll be fired up and ready to go.
What about this business this week, Glenn, with the writ that was issued by the Bruno camp against Lennox Lewis for those remarks referring to him as an Uncle Tom? Was that just a psychological ploy, or do they really mean business, you think?
I'm not really sure. I heard about it, I'm not really sure. It could just be another way of trying to unnerve Lennox. I mean, all sorts of things happen at this sort of time, and it could be just Frank, they're trying to nerve him, trying to rattle him a little bit. There we see he's getting the final preparations, they're putting the Vaseline on just before he's ready to go out. That saves him putting too much on in the ring.
Well, he meditates, Lennox Lewis, sometimes for relaxation, and it looks like he's doing something like that there. He also sleeps in the dressing room before fights. You can't believe that, can you?
A lot of fighters do that. A lot of fighters try and relax, obviously there's a lot of emotion and a lot of nerves going on, but they try and relax and try and get as focused as they can. They're trying to get their mind 100% tunnel vision, 100% on the job in hand, and I think that's what we've seen Lennox doing there.
But sleeping in the dressing room, have you ever heard of that?
Well, he's very good if he can just totally switch off and go to sleep. A lot of them lie there and shut their eyes, but they're still very nervous.
The man has a real veneer, a shield around him, which sometimes seems almost impenetrable, and it's a great temperament to have when you're a professional boxer at this level. among the many celebrities here, one of the great old heavyweights of old, one of the most marquee ticket sellers of all time in Britain, Billy Walker. He's with Gary Norman.
Thanks, Paul. You're right. A blonde bomber, not so blonde these days,
no,
Billy.
It's going a bit dark in the dark. It's still hanging around, though.
You'll know what this feels like. Just sum up this atmosphere. It's electric.
Lovely atmosphere. Wonderful. Everyone's... Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, when are you ever going to get two heavyweights fight for the heavyweight championship of the world?
Absolutely right. How do you see it going?
Love to see Frank win. Known him for years, but I've got to go for Lewis.
In these conditions, what would you do if you were in the ring? Get it over with quickly?
I've got always get it over with quickly if you can. Yeah. But you know, I think Lewis has got to be careful of Frank in the first few rounds because he's got a good puncher, and I feel that he's going to try and end it quick if he can. But I think the longer it goes, I think the more it's in Lewis's favour.
So you're for Lewis?
Yes, around about eight round rounds.
All right, thanks, Billy. Yeah. Back to you, Paul.
Thanks very much to Billy Walker talking there to Gary Norman. Up with me, Barry McGuigan, the former world featherweight champion. Time for your final assessments, please, Barry.
Right. Well, I think that if the fight goes the way that Frank will want it, he will want to entice Lewis into a brawl in the first few rounds. If Lewis is doing things right, he'll keep him on the end of a long jab. He'll want to outpoint him with the jab and frustrate him, and then eventually take advantage of that frustration and hone in with that huge, big right hand of his.
There's a bit of a delay just while the doctors go in to complete their final medical checks. Inside the two dressing rooms, Glenn downstairs was saying, Barry, that this is the worst time of all for the fighters. You've been in this situation, indeed, waiting to go out to fight in public arenas like this.
Well,
open air.
For some, Paul, it's the worst, and for some, it's the best time. It depends who you are, depends how psyched up you are, and what you're like psychologically. The preparation is all done now. You're at the point of no return. You've got your mind fixed on what you've got to do. You've got your tactics set in your mind. If they don't work, you've got another set of tactics to work with. And at this stage, you should be focused.
It's a very, very emotional atmosphere down there. Is this going to be an enemy or a friend to the boxers?
It all depends on who can control it. I like to think that the crowd is like fire. You can use fire to heat your house and to boil your water. If you don't control it, it'll burn your house down. It's the same thing with the crowd. You've got to control the crowd and allow yourself to be able to do what you've set out to do, plan your fight, and be able to go in there and carry out that plan.
The crowd is in. The fighters are getting ready down in the ring. Mickey Van waits for the entrance of the two gladiators. Just a temporary delay while the final medical checks are taking place in the dressing rooms, but we're just a couple of moments away. And while we wait, let's go back to Gary Norman with a Welsh sporting hero, I think.
Thanks, Paul. One of Wales's favourite sons, Colin Jackson, the world 110-metre hurdles record holder and champion. Just sum up, this is unbelievable, this atmosphere.
This is absolutely incredible. I've been here for a few rugby matches, but I've never seen an atmosphere like this for a boxing match, never.
Don't often see you at boxing matches because you're busy around the world. Who do you fancy for this one?
You know, I was watching your poll earlier. The nation wants Frank to win, and the polls are saying Lennox, so it's going to be really close, and I'm just here to watch and pray that no one gets seriously hurt. That's the key thing.
You're not going to say either way which way it'll go?
I really haven't got an opinion on that. I cannot really say who's going to win. I think it's going to be that close.
A quick line from you, how much better can you go? You can't get a lot better than what you did this year. What's next for Colin Jackson?
I think I want to take the world record to realms that no one else can reach it. That's my goal.
All right, well, you and Tony Jarrett have done a marvellous job for us. Back to you. Over to Ian, I think.
Yes, thanks very much indeed. Colin Jackson, who, of course, is a big folk hero in Wales after his amazing summer. That's the aerial view. And we've had fireworks here. We've had an emotional rendering of the national anthem. Catherine Zeta-Jones, one of the showbiz stars here. And we think we are something like 2.5 minutes away from the entry of Frank Bruno. I see Lloyd Hunnigan down there. Here's another famous face, Richard Branson. He always seems to be in that sweater, doesn't he? Doesn't matter where you are. 1 o'clock in the morning, he's still in the sweater, Glenn.
I'd have a feeling that he'll have quite a few sweaters here, and I don't think that's the same one he's got on all the time.
Well, I wish he'd lend me one.
We could do, it's overcoats we need.
Las Vegas this isn't, in terms of heat anyway, but in terms of atmosphere, it's the match, definitely, of any big Las Vegas promotion. There is a real electricity in the air in Cardiff. And the good news is, after all that slip-in and a slide-in on the canvas earlier on with Carlos Chase in action, it's dry. And we pray that it remains so. We do not want this reduced to some kind of farce with the canvas getting wet. It's nice and dry in there at the moment, and I don't think it's a problem for the moment, Glenn.
It isn't. I think hopefully the worst of it's over. We got a little spillover in the last fight, and now as long as they can keep off, it'll be great. I'd hate to see that spoiled such a great spectacle for Britain.
It is only the 6th ever world heavyweight title fight in Great Britain. It's the first ever in Wales. There's been Gunnar Moyer against Tommy Burns, Jack Palmer against Tommy Burns. Those were back in the early part of the century. Henry Cooper against Muhammad Ali at Highbury. 42,000 fans there that night. Brian London against Muhammad Ali at Earl's Court. And Frank Bruno's fight with Tim Witherspoon at Wembley Stadium. The crowd that night was 29,000. I would think it's something fairly similar to that here tonight at the National Stadium. Now the VIP lounge, thronging with celebrities earlier. None of them are there now. They're all down here, and they know where it's all about to happen. Some people have questioned this as a venue, notably Mickey Duff, who promotes Frank Bruno. He said it's wonderful to see the fight in Wales and the people are lovely, but as a commercial proposition it should have been in London. That's a continuing debate, of course, but you can't match this atmosphere, I would say. Here's Mike Goodall again, our MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Marquis of Queensberry rules brought boxing into modern times exactly 101 years ago in 1892. Tonight, history is to be made, because for the first time ever, 2 British boxers will contest a World Heavyweight Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenger for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World, Frank Bruno!
Emerges for his 3rd and probably last chance to fulfill his mission of becoming heavyweight champion of the world. He says, when I get in this ring, I'm going to explode like a time bomb. And Mickey Duff, his promoter, says, you're going to see a different Frank Bruno tonight. Well, is that all hype, or will it really happen? He's 2 months away from his 32nd birthday. Frank Bruno has had his critics, but you have to admire what he's achieved in his life. He says he could have ended up as a black Bonnie Biggs. Instead, this Essex man has become Britain's most popular fighter since Henry Cooper. And there's one crucial difference about this man and the early Bruno. He's battle-hardened now. He's been there before. He knows what it's about. Can he do it, Glenn McCrory?
Well, I think he has an excellent chance, a very, very good chance. He's up for this fight. He doesn't have anything to lose this time. I think the country everybody expected him. He'd been guided, and they expected that he'd win the world title last time. And I think this time there's no pressure on him. He's out there. He's in great frame of mind. And I think he has an excellent chance of doing it.
There's been a swagger about Bruno this week. He arrived at this arena tonight chewing gum and looking extremely jaunty. This was not a man who was frozen with fear at the prospect of getting in with Lennox Lewis. And I think he wants this. I've known him a long time. I think he wants this so much that it almost hurts. And in the later stages, if it becomes a tough, long fight, desire to win is a big, big factor. This is the challenger, Frank Bruno. Bruno entering the ring amid fantastic theatre and fireworks at Cardiff Arms Park. Has to be said, in 2 previous attempts at this level, he's been found wanting against Tim Witherspoon and against Mike Tyson. Stamina has proved a problem in the past, but he's more relaxed now and more mature. And remember, we went 10 rounds last time with Carl the Truth Williams. And there's something of the showbiz star in Bruno now. He milks the moment. How does he look to you, Glenn?
He looks very well. He looks very focused, very calm, relaxed. I think he enjoyed it. He got a great reception when he came on. I think he really enjoyed it.
That's interesting. They've got those plastic bags around his feet to stop, I think, the boot soles getting wet.
That's right, on the way, and they won't want his feet to get wet, you know, so he brings any water into the ring, which could make him slip very early on.
Now, Frank Bruno won't to be kept waiting too long in the temperatures here, which are dropping almost by the minute as we close in on 1 a.m. But nothing, I think, is going to deflect Bruno's mind now after the weeks and weeks of work in that tent in the school where his little girls are taught. We await the entry of the champion, Lennox Lewis.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis!
That's Ollie Dunlap leading Lewis out, the camp coordinator. And there's the champion. His brother Dennis. And that's what it's all about tonight. The WBC's belt, once thrown in the dustbin by Riddick Bowe. But don't forget, the reason he threw it in the dustbin is because he didn't fancy the idea very much of meeting Lennox Lewis at that time. There's Eugene Maloney, brother of Frank, there with the short cropped hair, real character in the camp, security man, and Lewis, as always, looking so cool. Age 28, 3 3/4 years younger than Bruno, 9 pounds lighter at 16 stone 5, and maybe the fastest and most athletic heavyweight since the incomparable Muhammad Ali. Cool, classy, and on form. Rightfully, he starts the favourite tonight. Bruno waits for him. Don't let the amiable, softly spoken manner fool you. Lewis, like most fighters at this level, would probably mug his own grandmother once he climbed through the ropes. It takes that kind of meanness to succeed at this giddy level of world boxing. But there are questions. We've yet to see him in a life and death struggle under intense pressure. We've yet to see how his chin reacts under a real power punch, and Bruno could be the one to deliver such a power punch, Glenn.
Certainly, he certainly has the physical strength to pull Lennox Lewis around. He certainly has the punching power to hurt any heavyweight in the world.
Big Frank, seems a long time ago he made his debut against that Mexican Lupe Guerra in 1982. It's his 5th comeback fight. Just look at Frank. It's a long, long way out there, and it's taking a long time for Lennox Lewis. He's got some fans there, and it'll be interesting to see the cheers when the two fighters are actually announced in the ring. You might get an idea of what percentage are pro-Bruno and what percentage pro-Lewis. The expectation is, with the cult figure kind of following that Bruno has, particularly among people who don't normally take too much interest in boxing, that maybe they'll be pro-Bruno, but we'll see. Lewis, his popularity is growing. The Battle of Britain, history in the making. Call it what you like, but it's tense and it's important, and this is big-time sport. What does he look like to you now, Glenn?
He looks very good. He looked very good when he was coming out. Very relaxed, very focused, as he always does. It was noticeable. He's glistening, so it looks like he's done a good warm-up. He'll have the Vaseline on already, which will make him, which will keep him warm. But I think he'll have done a very good warm-up one to keep nice and warm, ready for a fast start.
Against Tony Tucker last time, I thought Lewis looked so relaxed. I thought he was going to go to sleep in the corner before the fight, but he looks a bit more up, doesn't he, this time?
I think he's going to have to be. I think obviously this is a more nervous experience for him. It's a big British fight. He's got a lot to prove tonight. So I think mentally he will be very, very up.
Chance of Bruno. There's the tail of the tape. Bruno, the older man by nearly 4 years, 3 3/4 years, 31 to 28. The taller man is Lewis, but the reach advantage by an inch is for Frank Bruno. The weight, interesting. Bruno, the 2nd heaviest ever at 17 stone. He was heavier against Kurtzer, and Lennox Lewis, 16 stone 5. That's 6 pounds lighter than for Tony Tucker. He's probably trained for speed and mobility. Big plus points always for him. What about the rules for the fight? No standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is not in operation. That is, if there are 3 knockdowns in a round, it doesn't constitute an automatic stoppage, as in some other rules. The bell can only save a fighter in the last round, and only the referee, that's Mickey Van, can stop the fight. Now, in the event of an interruption from the weather, and we have to consider this open air and with rain about, if it interferes in under 3 rounds, it will be a no decision, in which case Lewis would carry on being champion. After that, say it was stopped in the 4th round because the conditions were wrong, they would go to the scorecards, and whoever was winning would be declared the winner. Now that really would be very, very contentious indeed. We hope and pray that it does not happen here. If it goes the full 12 rounds, these are the men who will score the fight. Jerry Roth from the United States. Adrian Morgan from Pontypridd, he's 65, he's about to retire as a British referee. And Tony Castellano, another experienced American official.
The officials appointed for this contest by the World Boxing Council are the supervisor in charge, Sir David Hopkin, the British Boxing Board of Control supervisor, Mr. John Morris, the timekeeper this evening, Mr. Ivor Campbell. The judges at ringside are Mr. Tony Castellano of Las Vegas, USA, and Mr. Jerry Roth of Las Vegas, USA, and Mr. Adrian Morgan of Caerleon in Wales. The man in charge of the action tonight, officiating in his 23rd World Championship, Mr. Mickey Van of Leeds, England. My lords, ladies Ladies and gentlemen, this contest is promoted by Frank Maloney for Paddocks Promotions and Main Events in association with National Promotions, who proudly present History in the Making, and is sponsored by Cardiff Bay Developments. This is a contest of 12 3-minute rounds of boxing to decide the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. In the blue corner, wearing white shorts with red trim from Essex, England, the challenger, ranked undisputedly number 5 by all world bodies, a former ABA heavyweight champion whose professional record from 39 fights reads 36 wins, 3 losses, 35 wins coming by way of KO, the former undefeated European heavyweight champion, Frank Bruno.
Is this the night that the dream is realised for him?
In the red corner, wearing red shorts with white trim, from East London, the former amateur world junior super heavyweight champion, Commonwealth Games gold medalist and Olympic Games gold medalist. His professional record, he is undefeated in 23 contests, 19 by way of KO. The former undefeated British, Commonwealth and European heavyweight champion, he comes to the ring tonight as the undisputed WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis.
Well, a pretty good hand for Lennox Lewis as well. Not as big, I think, as the one for Bruno, but he's got lots of
scaled
fans.
17 stone exactly, 238 pounds.
That's Lewis's mum, Violet, you saw at
16 stone,
ringside.
5 pounds, 229 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world.
Lennox Lewis, 16 stone 5. Frank Bruno, 17 stone. The referee, Mickey Van, age 49, who runs his own skip hire business in Leeds. The 4th time he's refereed a world title fight. This is the biggest night of his refereeing career by far. Mickey Duff, the promoter of Bruno, objected to Van after the controversy he was in America in the Chavez-Whitaker fight recently. That made the big headlines over there.
Right, you both had your instructions, you know what it's about. You conduct yourself in the manner of champions. Right? I don't take no shit off either of you. Shake hands, back to your corners, shake hands when you go. You shake hands, right?
Well, they shake hands reluctantly.
Listen, just a minute, alright? Don't give me no shit. Right?
Oh, Mickey Van recoursing to the industrial language and just reading the riot act to Pepe Correa a moment. Well, there was a bit of ill feeling there right from the word go. There's been quite a lot of hype. It's been a bit of a grudge match in the build-up, and we're all set to go. Lennox Lewis makes his 2nd defence of the WBC heavyweight title. Frank Bruno, at 31, attempts to win it for the 3rd time. Due to go 12 rounds, but will it?
Over there, over there, over there. Round 1.
And away they go. Bruno, you don't really need the identification in the white shorts. Oh, big sharp jab from Lennox Lewis early on, thrown with great hand speed. Lewis, on paper, is the better mover of the two, and the jab was a good one. He's landed it 3 times already, Glenn.
He's landed it, snapping out very well. He's moving around as well. He's using that little bit of movement and he's tried that big right hand twice.
Remember how Lennox Lewis overwhelmed Razor Ruddock in a couple of rounds. He's looked a bit of a puncher in his last 2 fights. Bruno, for the moment, just biding his time. It's a big moment in this fight when Bruno lands with one of his big bombs for the first time. Because Lewis's chin is largely untested.
Already Bruno's gone for a couple of jabs to the body. That's a dangerous move, because that's what cost Ruddock the loss in that fight. Nice stiff jab from Frank.
The faster start, and there Lewis just slipping and losing his footing a moment in that corner. Lewis has made the more confident start, but he's got this way of holding his gloves pretty low by his side. The head is open if you can time the punch and find the chin, but the reflexes are good too.
Frank's good. He's took the centre of the ring. He looks very strong, and he's using that jab well. Lennox is moving around, just trying to get Frank off balance that little bit.
Decent little right uppercut inside from Bruno there. There's no doubt about it, Bruno is trying to slow Lewis down. That seems to be a ploy by going for body shots.
I think that's we've just seen Bruno with 2 good jabs, and that's a key weapon for Frank. He's got to have a good stiff jab.
He's landed 3 times in succession with the jab, Bruno. He's starting to have some success. They're both good jabbers, and it might be a key point in this fight which of them is the more effective with it. There was some talk pre-fight that Bruno might be so fired up that he would come out very fast and maybe a little carelessly, but he always said that he'd take it coolly, and he did in that opening round. How did you score that one, Ben?
Well, I thought that was it was a very close round. They were both just trying to get it started. They were parrying for Romans, and it was predominantly the use of the jab there. But Frank come off well with a very even round. And I think just because Frank had the middle of the ring and maybe threw a few more jabs that landed, he could have stole that round.
Frank Bruno's 40th professional fight in 11 years. Now, there's Lewis's jab. He was effective with it early, but Bruno came back quite well.
He did, that's where we see. And that's where he got success, because he threw 2. And later on in the round, he threw 3.
Lewis being kept warm between the rounds with a big blanket. Second round for the WBC Heavyweight Championship.
Frank's keeping his own left hand pretty high after that jab. He obviously sees that big right hand from Lennox as a danger.
Bruno, a mellower, more mature model these days. A man whose career has twice been threatened by eye injury. Bruno looks very confident in these early stages, occupying centre ring and boxing to an obviously pre-orchestrated game plan, pumping out his jab. And it's not been a bad start, this, for Bruno.
It's a very good start. He is very, very up for this. He looks as if he's very focused, and he's taken the fight to Lennox right from the beginning. But he's doing it sensibly behind a good jab.
Only the 24th fight of Lennox Lewis's career compared to the 40th of Bruno's. Bruno does have experience on his side. Lewis does have these periods in fights where he just seems to switch off and not do a lot, and that seems to be the case in this second round so far. Bruno's making the running.
He is, but I think Lennox is catching the shots well. Bruno's sticking that jab over Lennox, is just parrying it nice with his own right hand. So he's using a good defense and keeping pretty elusive. Good shots from Bruno.
Look to let that big right hand go there, Bruno. It didn't land cleanly. And the left hook from Bruno with good hand speed.
That's a good point. Frank is looking very fast in this fight. He started very good very early, and he looks very sharp.
Well, he's certainly trained, I know, for extra mobility and flexibility. Two more jabs, chance of Bruno. Ring around Cardiff Arms Park. He catches Lewis again. Optimistic signs for Bruno. And the two of them there clubbing away, and Mickey Van trying to get in between those two big men. 34-stoner heavyweight in there. And now Mickey Van wants to have a chat with them.
Hello, over there. All right, you fucking disgrace. Don't give me no shit, either of you. All right, because I don't mind taking points off any of you. All right?
Mickey Van looking to impose his control on the two of them.
He's got to do that. These are two very big guys, and if it starts to get a little bit naughty, if they start to foul each other, it's going to become a mess.
That was Bruno's round, I think.
Definitely a very good round from Frank there. He's very up, and he's really going for it.
Live to Cardiff Arms Park. The big showdown between Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno. About to enter its third round, and it's been a good start for the underdog Bruno. They take the wraps off Lennox Lewis again. Lewis in the red shorts. For those of you who need identification, I can't imagine there are too many. Lewis needing to just maybe reimpose himself in this round and starting fast.
Yes, I think he's been told that in the corner. He's been told he's got to take the fight to Bruno, and he's done that. A good double jab and right hand.
There are the scoring punches so far in the first couple of rounds. 23 each. It's close. That's a good overhand right from Bruno. Did Lewis take that? He looks in a spot of bother. And Bruno looks to follow up. Remember how he had Mike Tyson going in the first round in his last attempt to win a world title. That shook Lewis up a little bit, but he's still there. Key moment in the fight, that, Glenn.
A very good moment. Good shots from Bruno. He's very sharp, he's very fast, and that took Lewis by surprise, and I'm sure that did hurt him. Lewis has got to fight back strong from this. He's got to stamp his authority on this fight.
This is an excellent performance so far from Bruno. Can he keep this up? Lewis starting the round very fast, looking to impose himself. Bruno coming in with that crashing punch, and Lewis looked bothered by it, but he didn't go down, and he's still there.
I think Bruno's getting the success because he's using his strength, he's forcing the fight, and he's using a very good jab. Good moments for Frank.
There's a slightly worried look on Lewis's face at the moment. And Bruno, there's no doubt about it, is giving him a hard time. This is not the fight a lot of people expected to watch.
Lewis is neglecting that jab a little bit. He's looking, I think he's a little bit perplexed by Frank's success, and he's trying for that big overhand right rather than trying to keep up with his jab. Lewis has got to get his own jab working.
He's got his gloves down very low as well, Lewis, and he was caught by that right hand of Bruno's. He may be dicing with danger a little bit. with the guard that low, but a bit of showboating from Lewis there, just to show Bruno maybe that his confidence is still there. Gone, and Bruno, no doubt about it, landed the biggest punch of the night so far in that one.
Definitely a very good round for Frank. He caught Lewis with some good shots, a good double jab and a right hand, which gave him the best success of the fight so far. And the corn must be very pleased with Frank.
Now let's see if we can see this punch again, this key moment.
Well, he's using his authority here. He's very strong. He's taking it forward. There's the double jab in the right hand. And Lewis did shake a little bit. He just seemed to get on the tail end of it. But then we see Frank's strength. And this is what we were looking for. Frank to pull him around, use that strength.
Now that was always going to be a crucial moment. How Lewis reacted when Bruno landed with one of his big shots. And he was shaken, but you might say not stirred.
I think that's a good description. He came back from it well.
Fourth round.
Right, box on.
A confident start from Frank Bruno. But you feel that there may be one or two more twists and turns ahead of us. Fascinating stuff. After the midnight hour in Cardiff. Now Lewis has been told by the corner, it's quite clear, to get working behind his jab more.
Well, that was a key thing that he had to do, and he was neglecting to do that in the early rounds. He was not using that jab and he was getting caught. Now he's starting to use it and he's getting a bit more success. So the corner must have told him, and he's got to keep using it. It's a key weapon in this fight.
And Bruno comes back once again and has success with his really good stiff ramrod jab. That's always been one of the big plus points in his weaponry. It's a battle of the jabs in many ways. The two of them looking to work other openings off the jabs.
The jab is always a key punch, and especially with these two fighters who depend on their jab. They've both got very good shots after the jab, but you've got to get your jab working and landing before you can land them big bombs.
Neither fighter really is slipping too many of those jabs either. They're both landing with a lot of regularity. Lewis is starting each round fast, but then rather switching off in the middle phases of the round. Bruno's been called programmed, stiff, robot-like in the past, but I don't know, for me in his comeback he's looked looser and better than the original model, and this is a good performance from him so far.
So far, very good performance. But the big bombs are coming in from both men now.
Lewis looking to get through with that right, but Bruno was wise to it, got his glove up well.
I think there's a little bit of a mouth developing on Frank's side. It seems to be swelling up a bit, so obviously Lewis's jab, that very fast jab, is getting through.
Lewis is a bit more mobile in this round. He's skipping backwards and sometimes out of range of the jab. In the last 30 seconds, a bit more.
Well, he's getting his own jab going, and he's starting to double it up.
Fascinating battle here. Welcome back. The way we're scoring this so far, just to give you a little guide, Glenn McCrory and I, is identical. 2 rounds to Bruno, 1 to Lewis, with 1 even. And our stats man, Bob Mee, who watches a lot of boxing, kind of agrees with that too. Harold the Shadow Knight whips off the blanket in the corner of Lennox Lewis. Mickey Van, the referee, very anxious to let everybody know that he is in charge. Here's a punch profile so far quickly for you. Lewis 49, Bruno 52. And Lewis complaining that he was punched round the back of the head by Bruno. Lewis, who in the build-up accused Bruno of being a dirty fighter. But when people start complaining to the referee, it's sometimes a sign that they're not entirely comfortable with things.
I think one thing I've never seen with Frank, I've never seen him this determined. He's very, very determined. Anything that Lennox does, he's coming back with something.
The word the Americans like to use is focused, isn't it? And it, I think, sums up
very
Bruno.
focused.
Oh, that's good from Lewis. 2 jabs and then a fast right hand, and Bruno ate all of those up. That really was a classy burst from the champion, but he needs more of that. And every time he does land, Bruno takes the shots and comes back. Again, Lewis is complaining about being held and pulled on the punches from round behind his neck. This is a tough and close fight.
It is very tough and very close. Both men giving it everything. But Lewis is having some tough moments. Frank is keeping control. He's still trying to force this fight behind that good jab.
Well, so far, Frank Bruno is making a few people eat their words here. His jab is working very well for him indeed, but Lewis is having a fair amount of success with his too. Stamina and desire to win could become big factors, you feel, later on in this. This shows every signs of developing into the toughest fight of Lennox Lewis's life.
That's right, we're going to have to see if this goes later into the fight, how the stamina of both men is, because this has been fought at a terrific pace. Good shots from Lewis, beautiful jab.
Lewis just upping the pace a bit. He's done that twice in this round. Double jab, then overhand right hand. Bruno is keeping up a very, very high work rate, though. This is a good fight for the heavyweight title. There were some lovely cameos in that round from Lennox Lewis, but Bruno never allowed the champion to really wrestle the initiative in a big way, did he, Glenn?
He didn't. He let Lennox, obviously it's very close and Lennox is in the fight, and he let Lennox start using that jab a bit, and Lennox threw some good shots, but Frank came back, as we see here, this overhand right, a club and punch, and I think it's unsettling Lewis a little bit. That was a good combination there from Lennox. That was probably his best shots of the fight. Good double jab with the right hand behind it.
Frank Bruno's had a little bit of a problem, possibly, with that left eye. It's just beginning to swell around the eyelid. It will be a danger for him if it started to close up because of that. 6th round, live from Cardiff's National Stadium, and there's too much grease around Lewis's face. And Pepe Correa is being told by Mickey Van, the referee, to wipe some of that off. There's still an awful lot on there. 6th round, moving towards the halfway point here. And Lewis, his left eye is just beginning to swell up a bit as well. They've both taken an awful lot of jabs. Lewis, you get the impression, is looking to up the pace a little bit.
A furious start of this round, and Lewis is really letting the big shots go. Big right hand to the body he threw.
Has Lewis got another gear, you wonder, that he's preparing to use? Bruno will certainly want to have got rid of the stamina problems he had early in his career in this one.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting test, because the fight's been fought at a terrific pace, and it's bound to take it out of both men at the end of this fight. They're both going to be tired as the rounds go on, and then it's when the defenses get slack and the big shots can come in from either man, because they've both got terrific power.
There's a little bit of blood around Lewis's face, and I think it might be just seeping from a cut somewhere near his eye. We'll try to get a closer look at that. Nothing serious at the moment, but they're beginning to develop damage. He was cut against Mike Weaver, Lennox Lewis, and needed 8 stitches. There's been a relentlessness about Frank Bruno in this fight, though.
It is. He's been non-stop. He's been walking forward behind that jab all the time. And I think that by pushing Lennox Lewis back, it's kept him off balance. But he's having a good point here.
Lewis looks more confident in this round, though, to me. He's just got that old arrogance back about him.
That's right. Well, he started to get that bounce in his step, and he started to come forward and push Bruno back. And I think that's very good for Lewis. That's what he's got to try and do.
Lewis, the younger, fresher man. There was a low blow in there from Lewis, a right. Mickey Van steps in to separate them again. It's been a hard night for him. Bruno is so hungry for this, and he's making Lewis work so very, very hard. And again, Bruno there gets a little caution. There's no point deducted for punching behind the head of Lewis.
I think there was no point deducted because Lewis tipped his head down.
Well, I hope you're enjoying this live broadcast from Cardiff. It was a long time coming. There was a lot of hype, but it's proving a very, very good fight, and Frank Bruno is producing one of the best performances, if not the best, of his whole career here. 6 rounds gone, halfway point. I'm scoring the fight even, so is Glenn McCrory. This is the 7th round. They both have a little bit of facial damage. So far, we've got Lewis landing 84 punches and Bruno 83. We have an expert counting the punches as they're landed.
But one thing's for sure, this certainly is a great heavyweight title fight.
Look at Bruno here, coming up with their left hook, catches him, and Bruno was hurt by that. And now Lewis is looking to close in to finish this, and Bruno is in trouble. Bruno is in big trouble. And Lewis carries on a relentless assault here, pouring on the punishment. These are bad moments for Frank Bruno. Right uppercut, and I think Mickey Van's going to stop it. Or is he? He's called off the assault. Well, that was a contentious incident in the fight. I thought for a moment there he was stopping that right uppercut. Lewis here, and Bruno is on the verge of going. He won't take a lot more, and this time it is stopped, and Lennox Lewis is still the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. But Frank Bruno put up such a brave, courageous performance. He was right in the fight until that moment when Lewis turned on the class and finished the job in clinical fashion. That really was very, very impressive. He's a great finisher, Lennox Lewis, and once he had Bruno going, he was never going to let him off the hook. Lewis is still champion. The Battle of Britain has been won by Lennox Lewis. Mum Violet can celebrate, but they'll have known some anxious moments in that before Lewis concluded the job.
A brilliant finish from Lewis. Frank was just getting through with some good shots of his own, and Lennox showed real heart, real courage, and come out with a brilliant left hook and poured it all on. Some fantastic work there, and I'm just glad the referee stopped it when he did, because Frank was taking some bad shots.
The left hook took everything away, didn't it?
It was a fantastic. He let everything go with that one. Frank just stood, just caught it, bang on, a beautiful shot, and it was all over from that moment.
Well, he's a strange performer, Lennox Lewis. Sometimes you feel he doesn't look that impressive at all. But when he moves into that higher gear, when he catches his man, his ability to get the job finished is quite extraordinary.
Well, that left hook was the one that did the job, because that knocked Frank right, you know, it shuttered him right to his shoes.
Now, here we are. Let's have a look at it. Bruno.
That's where Frank's got the success, and there it is, right on the chin.
That was the one. Look at his legs doing a silly dance as it landed, Bruno.
Oh, he never recovered from them shots. And Lennox, a beautiful finisher who pours it all on. He got the job done. I thought the referee had stopped it the first time. I'm not sure why he didn't wave it over there and what Lewis had done wrong.
I think really why he caught him off is because Lewis was pushing his left glove into Bruno's face, and that's why he made him abandon the assault, but it didn't actually matter in the end. Lewis here, look, he's just picking the punches. Oh, that right uppercut. That really was the telling final blow, the right uppercut. Rolled his head back like a rag doll, Bruno, and there was no way back from there. No way at all. You may be watching the last moments in the career of one of Britain's most popular fighters.
But you've got to give all respect to him. He put up a marvellous performance. He was so focused. He really went for it. And if this is his swan song, then he did a great job, and it's a great fight to go out on. He showed nothing but courage. But Lennox Lewis, in the end of the day, a fabulous performance.
The way he finished the job was quite brilliant, Lewis. But take your hat off too to Frank Bruno, because every time he has challenged for the world title, he has put up such a brave, courageous effort against Witherspoon and against Tyson. But you have to say, in the end, Lewis's extra, well, maybe it was punch power, told. That's the third time in a row he's landed with a big punch and finished off his opponents. Remember, against Tucker, he had him down twice. Vital moments in the fight. Mayhem in the ring, as always. Lewis has got dark glasses on. Bruno's got his wife Laura in the ring with him at this moment, and I'm glad to say that Frank is okay. That is good to see. George Francis with him. $3.5 million or pounds, we reckon, for Lewis here. About 1.25 for Bruno. Rough figures, you never hear the exact ones. But Lewis is still the champion. That's the bottom line in Cardiff. In the Battle of Britain, Lewis in the end was the one flying the Spitfires. Somewhere in there is Mike Goodall, and he'll give us the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 1 minute 10 seconds of the 7th round, the referee has stopped the contest. The undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis! And ladies and gentlemen, as he leaves the ring, your appreciation for a very, very
well, a lot of people thought, or some experts anyway, that Lewis might just blast Bruno away. But Bruno's performance was heroic here. But take your hat off to this man, Lennox Lewis, because he is the future. We long to see him in the ring with Riddick Bowe. He perhaps still is not the finished article, but in even a tough fight, he finds the moment like that to get the job done. And that's what it's about in the end.
He answered a lot of questions, because that was a very tough fight. Frank was having a lot of success, and he showed, to me, he showed a lot of skill and a lot of courage, because he overcome some tough fighting. And he came out with a beautiful left hook, and then he piled the pressure on. And to me, it was a fantastic performance. And a very, very good heavyweight title fight.
Oh, it was excellent, I thought. Lennox Lewis, it's his 24th consecutive win, all the training in Landover, Maryland. Frank Bruno is on his way back to the dressing room. And is that the last time we will see him? It may well be. It's hard to see, really, where Frank can go from there, Glenn, isn't it?
It is very hard. I mean, he's proved everything. He's went in there and he's had a go. He's given his best shot. Unfortunately, it wasn't his day. And Lennox Lewis proved he is a very, very worthy world champ. And I think, Frank's done everybody credit. He's been a great personality, but I think his time has probably come.
So let's go to Frank Maloney, the manager of Lennox Lewis. He's with Gary Norman.
Frank, that was a very strange start to that fight. I was a bit worried for Lennox at the start.
Yeah, I just think there was too much pride up there. Both boys forgot their boxing. That was a real war up there. That was savage until we got Lennox under control.
Did you underestimate Bruno at all?
No, we never underestimated him. We've always said it would be a war for 5 rounds with his pride at stake, and that's what we saw up there. Frank got carried out on the shield up there tonight, and full marks to him. He proved what a better fighter we've ever given him credit for.
I think Lewis had to dig deep. There was a couple of times there he looked a little bit phased to me.
I don't think so. He got caught with a couple of shots, but he was under control all the time. He was just trying too much with the right hand.
He got the job done like you said he would, but let's give Frank a bit of praise for this, eh?
I'm praising Frank. I've just told you, I think it was a great fight, not taking nothing away from Frank. It was probably a much better fight than any 2 Americans could have put on for a world title. And full marks to Frank Bruno, and full marks to Lennox Lewis.
Now it's Tommy Morrison.
Hopefully, yes.
All right, back to you, Ian Dart.
It's me actually, Gary, but well done for getting a hold of Frank Maloney nonetheless. Barry McGuigan has watched that enthralled with me. I think the top line out of it is to say that that was a better fight than either of us expected it to be.
It certainly was, and if these people don't stand down behind us, I'd rather fight.
Your boxing days are over, McGuigan.
Anyway, I thought Bruno put up an exceptionally good fight. Lewis unfortunately allowed him into the fight fortunately for Frank, he allowed him into the fight because he didn't jab. He didn't jab with Bruno. Bruno took control of the centre of the ring and at times looked ominously dangerous. Hurt Lewis, and let nobody tell you that Lewis can't take a shot. He can take a tremendous punch, and I thought that he finished the fight in superb fashion. His accuracy was brilliant. He didn't put his punches together early enough in the fight, but when he did, he turned on the magic and he was sensational.
Thanks, Barry. Much more from Barry McGuigan as we continue to reflect on what has been an absolutely sensational fight. We'll be talking to Lennox Lewis, still reigning WBC World Heavyweight Champion, after this.
Watching Sky Sports.
In the All-British World Heavyweight title fight in Cardiff. The champion, Lennox Lewis, beat Bruno in the 7th round.
Judging from the sharply divided loyalties, the fans who flocked to Cardiff Arms Park early this morning weren't expecting the one-sided fight predicted by the experts. And they weren't disappointed. It was an encounter to match the explosive billing, due almost entirely to Frank Bruno's bold, sustained aggression. His stinging jabs and clubbing rights pinned back and hurt the champion during the first 5 rounds. And the judges still had him fractionally ahead in the 7th when it all ended with unexpected suddenness. A vicious Lewis left hook turned Bruno into a virtual statue as the blows rained in. It was only a matter of time before referee Mickey Vann was left with no option but to stop the contest. When it was all over, it was nearer sunrise than sunset, but there was little doubt in which direction Britain's most lovable loser was headed. Afterwards, Lewis admitted his opponent had initially troubled him, while Bruno declined to announce immediate retirement.
I will go home and chill out with my wife and my kids and talk to my trainer and see where I go from there. I can't make nothing yet because it's not even an hour, you know what I mean, after the fight.
But today it was only Lewis looking to the boxing future, announcing a defence against American Tommy Morrison in Las Vegas next spring. Kevin Geary, BBC News, Cardiff.
More news at 5:05.